Hey everybody. So I recorded the whole thing. I recorded this big long video that you're going to watch unedited, hopefully. But I just want to jump in really quick and say that, first of all, this is the actual album cover that we went with. Later, I mentioned about how I wanted the inside artwork to be a scene from the comic where he's got like a naked woman on his leg and a machine gun in his hand. But I always imagine that being kind of like how Guns N' Roses had the Appetite for Destruction alternate artwork inside the book. This was the original artwork. It is an artistic rendition, a remake of, this is like the results of a particle collision in the Large Hadron Collider. I don't really know what it means. There's some things that I wanted to point out. If you haven't seen the comic book video, the link will be in the description, so click it and watch. Maybe it'll be more interesting to watch this video after you've seen it, but not a requirement. Second, I wanted to point out that while we were Murder No Motive, we got older and we changed our name. We became less thrash and more progressive. We changed our name to the Poly-Exclusion Principle. This is spelled like the principal of a school on purpose, but the Poly-Exclusion Principle is a physics, science, quantum mechanical theory of some sort by some guy named Pauli, which basically explains why electrons can't shed all of their energy. So basically, in short, everything in nature wants to go to the lowest energy state, like keeping your desk clean requires a lot of work. You constantly have to clean it, but to let it get messy requires nothing at all. Just be lazy as shit and it'll get messy. Everything wants to just devolve into chaos. Everything wants to go to its lowest energy state. Electrons are the same. If I understand it correctly, you have like protons and neutrons in an atom, and you have like electrons that travel around in like rings, not actual rings, but that's how we picture it. And the closest, the lowest level ring is the lowest level electron, and all electrons would like to shed all of their energy and jump down to this lowest ring, but they can't, and that's because of the exclusion principle. And if I understand it right, a lower level electron really can only have like, say, two properties, upspin and downspin, and they, so you have an upspin electron and a downspin electron, and that's it. Now that lowest ring is full. But the ring above it, you have an electron with a little bit more energy, so it has a little bit more properties. So now you can have like a red upspin and a red downspin and a blue upspin and a blue downspin. And so your second ring can have 4 electrons. But once you have all 4 of those, that ring is full. An electron comes into the atom and he has to stay in the third ring. He would like to shed his energy as a proton or as a photon and jump down to the second ring, but he can't because there's no space in the second ring. And the electrons in the second ring would like to shed energy as a photon and jump down to the first ring, but they can't because there's no room in the first ring. So this is their lowest energy state for them. That's a terrible example because red and blue aren't actual properties, but it's the idea, and it basically gives us the periodic table. So we kind of took that name because we thought it sounded cool, and because that was our name, this was our classy artwork. Doesn't scream heavy metal, screams more indie band, but that was kind of the idea. Anyways, we called it The Bright Side of the Dark Side. Dooley came up with that name. I don't know where he came up with it or why. Probably a better name had it been entirely up to me. There is a term in French called the Call of the Void, except you would say it in French. I wanted to call our album that. Siesta la Futurno in the key of D. I wanted to name it like a classical piece. My name is pretentious and probably shitty, but the Call of the Void is like if you've ever stood on the edge of like a really tall building and you've thought to yourself, like, what if I jumped? And then you think to yourself, why the fuck would I think that? Oh my God, what an awful thought. Well, that's what the French call the Call of the Void. I got a bit of anxiety. I'm a little paranoid. I think that shit, So anyways, I wanted to call it the French term that translates to the Call of the Void. Te vote in the key of D. But the only other thing I'm going to have to go here in a minute is I forgot to point out that, again, we didn't write a story. We just had music and, the story was written by the inspirations of the riffs. I can't stress that enough. But we did need like a key premise. Dooley and I had to ask ourselves, why would anything happen to our main character? And our very first premise, the entire story was based off this one premise, and that was anything could happen, and anything would happen to our main character because, quote, a wizard did it. And that is a Simpsons joke where Lucy Lawless explains to a bunch of nerds that every continuity error they ever spot in any show ever is the result of a wizard. Basically she says, whenever you notice something like that, well, a wizard did it. And then all of the nerds are like super happy with the answer. And so when Dooley and I were like, man, we're going to write this story, but it's based off the music, and the music could make us think of anything. How can we write a story where literally anything could happen? Why would anything happen to our character? A wizard did it. That was a wizard did it. This line from The Simpsons was literally the base premise for our entire cartoon. The only other thing is I kind of briefly talk about it later is what were other ideas that we had for like sequels, our second and third album, our mini songs. I mentioned we had like a Castlevania style idea, Demon Hunter in a castle. There's the secret agent. One of the other ideas that I always really liked was a baseball star or a sports star of some sort, football. Probably I always liked baseball, so soccer, baseball. I'm not really sure what the story would be, but again, we don't write the story, the music writes the story. But that was the third idea that I forgot to mention. Could be like a Casey Jones strikes out sort of thing. Could be a story where he gets hooked on drugs and fails. I don't know. Who knows what it would have turned into, but it's just really interesting to choose a premise and then just be like, okay, now the music has to tell a story about a baseball player. Now the music has to tell a story about a demon hunter. Now the music has to, it would have been real interesting to see what other stories the music would have wrote for us. And last but not least, I can't really remember my personal mental vision of what this would look like, this comic book, but I do want to point out that I know when we decided to come up with the wizard, my vision of the wizard was very cartoony, like long white beard, pointy blue hat with stars on it. I feel like, and I can't recall 100%, but I feel like mentally when I thought about what this comic would look like, I pictured something more along the lines of like Tex Avery style Looney Tunes cartoon, something far more animated and wacky. Dooley was far more grounded and serious, and it was a good call on his part. his far more serious tone is definitely a savior. So okay, anyways, on with the rest of the video. Hey, what's up everybody? This is a little bit of a different video. Let me move the mic just a little bit more, make sure you can hear me, although it seems like the levels are good. So, I don't really know where to start. In my mid-20s or so, I was in a metal band, and we did fairly well. We toured with some metal blade bands, and labels were interested in us. We never got to sign the deals. Long story short, it's your typical sex, drugs, and rock and roll style thing. One of the guys who had recorded our albums that the label was interested in tried to extort us into being his manager. I'll fix the vocals for the label like they asked, but it'll cost you $7,000, or you can make me your manager. And we were like, eat a dick. And then he didn't want to give us our recordings. And then unfortunately, not to start this off on a sad note, but the drummer eventually passed away from drugs. So, it is what it is. I'm 40 now, so it's still sad, but it happened. But the thing is that our very last project, what we were going to do was something that I was like really, really excited about. I was really, really amped on this like whole big vision. I feel like nobody has ever done anything like what we were about to do. And unfortunately, I never got to release it. And I guess I just want to document it and just put this on the internet just to say, like, this was going to happen. This was supposed to happen. And it's kind of a loss that it didn't. I don't know. Maybe one day somebody will have a real similar idea and I'll be able to say, look, I thought of it first. But besides that, I just want it out there. If I can't actually go through with this as the band, then I just want to tell you all. So here we go. So the name of the band was, we were originally a band called Murder No Motive, like murder, no motive. But we changed the name as we got a little older to the Poly Exclusion Principle, because we went from being like a typical thrash metal band to, more progressive metal, I guess, if you will. And this is the first album that we were going to release. And so there's just a lot to unpack here. So, where do I start? First of all, you're going to notice if you look down here in the bottom, you're going to notice that it's 46 minutes and 30 seconds, and that is the length of one single song. So this is where it gets a little bit strange. We were not, you got to keep in mind that it's currently October 28th of 2022, right? But this video was made like 10 years ago, right? And so we were no longer going to release albums. Sometimes we were going to release really long. We were only going to do songs, single songs. And sometimes we would release a really long song like this one that would be an entire album's worth of material. But we were also just going to drop like, here's a 5-minute long song. And so the thought behind this was the internet, streaming is the future. YouTube is the future. Spotify was the future. And we live in that future now. But, I saw it coming and I was like, nobody's going to go to the music store and buy a CD. Why make everybody wait a year or two for new material? Because you have to write an entire album's worth of material, go to the studio, record it, and then release an entire record. Why don't you just write a song, record that song, and release it? Why not just release a song every couple of months? You have fans that love you. And instead of making these fans wait an entire year for 12 songs, you could just, every month or two, here's a new song. And so that's what we were going to do. And sometimes, here's a whole album's worth. So it was going to be hit or miss, right? So like this was going to be our first intro into the world. Like here we are. So we wanted to give you a whole album's worth of material. And so this one song is 46 minutes and 30 seconds long, which is actually 1 minute and 30 over our estimate. We wanted it to be 45 on the dot, but shit happens. So the second part of that is that every single time a song came out, we wanted to make a music video for it. And our music video was going to be like comic book style. What you're about to see is kind of the idea, but we wanted it a little bit more animated. We just didn't have the budget, right? This is all I could afford. This was not cheap. But how do we explain this? It's important to note that the story that you're about to see here, the parts of it, was not, we didn't sit down and just write a story and then like make it match the music. We didn't write a story and then write music to it. We just wrote a song. And then we got together in a group, and because we were in our 20s, we'd just like hotbox the room. We'd just get super stoned. And we'd listen to a riff over and over and over. And we would write down on our own little pieces of paper what this riff made us think of. Then we would combine our notes and we would say, okay, how do we take all of these ideas and make them one scene? And so an example would be, there's a riff like, I got to do it. I got to do the band thing. People in bands know what I'm about to do. It's band language. But there would be a riff and it would be like okay, I heard that riff and I thought, oh, a train, it kind of reminded me of a train. But Dooley, the bass player, he was like, I hear a chase. I hear like somebody chasing after somebody else. And so we had to put the two ideas together. Well, it's somebody chasing after a train, right? And then the question is, why are they chasing after a train? Maybe they're chasing after a train because they're late and they just need to catch it to get where they're going. Maybe it's like one of those old World War I or World War II scenes, where like the guy's on the train and he's leaving and his woman is like chasing after him on the tracks or whatever, Or as you're going to see in the film, as I kind of skip through this, you're a bunch of cowboy bank robbers chasing after a train so you can rob it. And we thought, well, that idea is the coolest of all the ideas, right? I mean, yeah, cowboy bank robbers or train robbers, dude, that's awesome. Let's go with that one. And so that was what we decided. This scene is going to be cowboys robbing a train. And then we would move on to the next riff, and we did this over and over and over until we had all these scenes, and then we put all of these scenes together into a cohesive story that is here. And that would be the music video. And well, that's just how it went, right? So every single time we released a song, we were going to write the song, do like a demo recording, sit down, write a story based off it, go and record it professionally, and while we were recording it, have like our comic book artists draw up the comic book frames that were inspired by the music. We would put them together, and then we would release it. And every couple of months you would get not only a new song, but you would get like a new comic book video and potentially a new comic book. Well, so yeah. So I don't really have this plan. I'm just kind of making this up as we go. So that's what you're going to see here. And I think the story that came out was really, really super cool. And there's a lot to this comic book story. I'm sorry, man. I'm getting like 1,000 messages. Like I literally no messages for like hours until I hit the record button. And now like every 10 seconds. So I'm fucking sorry about that, but it is what it is. What was I saying? Okay. Oh yeah. So this comic book here, this story here. Well, let me go back. So this idea I thought was super, super cool because there was a lot to it, right? People would want to listen to our music because they were fans of our music. They just liked us. Like, oh, they're going to put the CD in the car or whatever, you know, and they're just going to jam out like you would any other musician. You know, you're going to put it on during a party or whatever. But we also thought it would be really cool because people would just want to like watch it. Like potentially you would be like, you know, hey bro, you got to come over and check out this new band that I found out. And then your buddy would come over and you'd toss him a beer or whatever. And then you'd put on the YouTube video and you'd be like, you got to watch this. Not only does this band kick a ton of ass, but wait until you see this music video. This shit is dope. And what's cool is that these guys do this all the time. Every single song, you get a new comic book. We also thought it would be really cool because we get to reach out to like comic book people. Like kind of like how Coheed and Cambria have the Keywork comics or whatever. That was kind of the same type of deal. Like we could literally print these up and then you could purchase the comic book. So not only could you buy our band t-shirts, but you could also buy comic books from us. You know, and it was just one more piece of merchandise that we could sell. And anybody who's in a band knows that a lot of your money in a band, especially if you're like a lower metal band, comes from merchandise. Straight up underground unsigned bands, you're probably not making shit playing shows. You're probably playing a lot of shows for just enough money to eat and gas to get to the next one. If you're playing local shows, you're probably just playing for free, just so that you're hoping that people notice and like and hear. And plus, it's just kind of fun to hang out with your friends. But you make the majority of your money off, you know, merchandise or, you know, streaming. And we thought, well, we could, you know, increase our views if we had something interesting that you would want to see. And we could increase our merchandise by like offering comic books. But there was also like the fact of like marketing, like how Iron Maiden have like Eddie. Well, because we have this comic book, you know, we could market that, right? Like we have characters. Like I'm just going to skip ahead here so you can look at something different really quick. It loads. Well, that's a terrible shot. I don't know. Let's go. Let's scroll. Oh my God, is there a picture of this guy's face? Yeah, let's go here. Right, so that's our barbarian character. You know, and boom, character, right? And you can see in the background, you know, he's like in the distance, so he's not highly detailed, but that's the wizard character. And then there's like the orcs and the wife and stuff. And it's like, dude, these are characters. Like Iron Maiden has Eddie, you know, we got the barbarian and the wizard and shit. Just put them on t-shirts, put them on skateboards, you know, just market these characters. Like we don't need a mascot. We have one. Put them in comic books. And then being able to like make the comic books also meant that we could do things like comic book conventions. So hopefully the band would have been big enough that we could have went to like the San Diego Comic Con, but probably not because we're a crazy metal band. We most definitely could have played the comic book convention that we have here locally in our hometown. We probably could have went to like Utah and done it. I mean, no offense to people in Utah, but not exactly known for your big metropolises and comic book conventions. But your convention is probably big enough that like, yeah, we'd be worth the trip, but like not so big that also we could go there. We could go there and have a stand, and we could sell our comic books and our toys and our merchandise, and we could like sign autographs to people who like us, and potentially we could have even performed. And it just kind of like gave us this door into what I'm going to lovingly call nerd culture, because look at me, I'm clearly a nerd. And we were just like, dude, this is genius. On top of being this cool metal band, all of this comic book stuff just really gives us like a lot of marketing to expand. It gives us icons, it gives us merchandise, it gives us events to travel to. It gives people reasons to, watch our videos over and over and over. It increases the reason you might want to share, blah, 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 blah. Plus, we just thought it was really cool. In band practice, we would write a riff, and it was like one of the things that I would just always do. And it just kind of spread to all of us. We would just like play a riff or whatever and be like, yeah, I like that. And then everybody would just kind of chime in. Yeah, it kind of makes me think of this, man. Because again, we were like 20 something. So the room that we practiced in would be hotboxed. And, oh no, dude, it makes me think of like a big robot, And so we were just like, why don't we take all of these visions that we have when we're writing these riffs in the band room and turn them into a story? And so here you go. Before we jump into the story, I'm just trying to see if I'm missing anything. So this story is the story about a barbarian and a wizard, and I'm gonna kind of ruin it. Like, if you want to watch the video, maybe go and watch the song video before you watch this lecture, but I don't really care. But what's interesting about this is that the first time you watch the film, you're going to get this barbarian and wizard story, where like the wizard takes the barbarian's girlfriend and he's got to go and get her back. And this was our plan, big picture, was to continue this story like in the next song and the next song and the next song, but not exclusively. So the very next song, we actually had we had a song or two written. We had about 10-15 minutes of another album written, and we were kind of deciding if they should be like a 5-minute song or if we should do like another big 45-minute long piece. Oh, which I hope I don't forget after this thought, why we wanted to write a big 45-minute long song besides just having an album's worth of material. But we were going to venture away from the barbarian and the wizard like right away. Like our next album, the comic book, we had a lot of ideas kicked around. We talked about, like, this was before Netflix had the Castlevania show. We talked about doing Castlevania. Not, specifically Castlevania, like Simon Belmont, because obviously we don't want to get sued, but that type of idea where like a demon hunter goes into like a haunted building of some kind and has to like battle his way up to the tower to kill Dracula. We thought that was like really cool. And we thought that was like kind of cool because it kind of like locked us into a small area. So let me backtrack here. So this story about the barbarian and the wizard is the barbarian ends up traveling through multiple dimensions. And that was like a really big piece to us because it meant that we weren't locked into any one, how do I put this? Again, I'm going to use the word area. So we want the freedom, always. We wanted the freedom to be able to say, this makes me think of a chase. This makes me think of a train. It's clearly a train chasing after something or somebody chasing after a train. But we need the freedom to be able to say, well, this next riff makes me think of a giant robot, right? How do you put like an old-timey cowboy train in the same film with a giant robot? We needed this freedom. We didn't ever want to say like, well, it makes me think of a giant robot, but a giant robot's not going to work in our setting, so I guess we can't use that idea. Because that goes against the whole spirit of the riffs inspiring the visuals. And so this idea was a multi-dimensional time-hopping barbarian because he could just go to dimensions. Okay, he's a cowboy. Well, in the next scene, I picture a giant robot. Cool. Then he goes to fucking Space Marine world, and now he's piloting a giant robot. Like, all things are possible because the barbarian could always just travel to the universe where that exists. And he could potentially travel to a universe that just doesn't make any sense, like we kind of do. At one point in this comic, there's like a really weird scene with robot Hitler who shoots out little people who are like wearing diapers and they're holding knives. Like, he has like a big chain gun, and instead of shooting bullets, he shoots out little people with knives, and the little people are wearing diapers. Why? I don't know. Why not? Fuck it. He can, you know? There's an infinite amount of alternate dimensions out there. He went to the alternate dimension where that weird ass shit is normal. So that's where he's at. So this choice, you know, this general outline of this like wizard barbarian time hopping universe thing was, you know, selected by design so that every thought we had could always make sense in the tale of our story. But we also thought, like, well, maybe next time, you know, it might be interesting to trap ourselves into a box. Like, oh, we have a demon hunter who's in a haunted mansion or a haunted castle. And now if you picture a giant robot, how do you get that giant robot in there? Well, I mean, steampunk, right? I mean, you have like a big boiler room and the boilers come alive into a big monster. I picture a train and a guy chasing after it. Well, it's an Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom style minecart chase that takes place in the basement or something, right? You know, you'd really have to like stretch your imagination. Like, this is what I think of. Now, how do I make this work in a haunted castle scenario with a demon hunter? We thought that might be a lot of fun. But we had settled on Secret Agent. We were going to do a secret agent who had to stop a supervillain from taking over the world. And we thought that'd be really cool because it was like total James Bond style. Like, the evil villain has like a death ray satellite in space, and you got your secret agent and he has all kinds of gadgets, flying cars and submarines and wristwatches with lasers on them or whatever. And he could just go anywhere and do anything. You know, he could just like go into enemy bases and underwater sea labs or travel the world. And we thought any idea we have would clearly fit into this secret agent story because he's just, you know, traveling the world and fighting supervillains with crazy inventions. Of course it'll work, you know? Of course there's a reason for him to chase a train or fight a robot. So we had lots of ideas. And the reason that we wanted to separate that like right away, we were just like, okay, here's the barbarian story, but the next one was going to be a secret agent, because we wanted to like put our foot down, you know, pretty early on that we have the freedom to expand into different stories. We didn't want to drop a barbarian story, do a second video, and it's also the barbarian, and then everybody's like, oh my god, I can't wait for the next barbarian comic, and then we drop a third album and then we do something else, and then everybody's disappointed, you know? Nowadays I'm going to call this like the Archer effect, if you're familiar with the Archer television show. In that, Archer for seasons, you know, was all about a spy agency. And then I think Adam Reed, the creator of Archer, had this genius idea that I absolutely love, but it was not handled, it was not received so well. Again, I love this idea. He decided to put his main character, Archer, into a coma. And then the next like 3 seasons was Archer's coma visions. So he took all of the main characters from Archer and he put them in dream worlds. So like one season they were, you know, it was like a film noir and they were like detectives. And then the next season, the same exact characters, now they're all different people. They're like, they were on a Caribbean island in a dangerous jungle with like a temple full of gold that they were chasing after. And then the season after that, now they're all like space pirates. I thought it was such a cool idea. I love the coma seasons of Archer to take like a main cast of characters and just put them in different situations. Like, imagine taking everyone from The Office, except like this season they work in an office and next season they're, you know, pirates on the ocean, like Blackbeard style pirates. And then in the next season after that, the same cast, the same characters, but now they're, you know, I don't know, they're in World War II. Like, how crazy would it be to see your favorite Office characters in these different situations? But Anyways, I've distracted myself, but basically we didn't want that effect, right? The reason the Coma seasons weren't so well loved is because like people had season after season, I mean, what, like 6, 7 seasons, if not more, had seen Archer as a spy, and then it's like one day they turn on their TV and now Archer is a space pirate, and they were just like, this isn't the show that I want to watch. This is different. We wanted to come out the gate different. We wanted to be like, this is what we do. Here's your Barbarian story. Next album we release, not the Barbarian story. To let you know right off the bat, we could do anything we want. But we were going to go back to the Barbarian story, which I'll get to. I can't remember any other ideas. I mean, Castlevania Dungeon was the top one. Super Agent Spy was that was the one we had said that was going to be the deal. And I was really excited about that, but never got to finish that one. So why 45 minutes exactly? That's because when we were headlining shows, we typically got 45 minutes to play. For some reason, at that point in time, that was just the set number. So my band had always kind of had longer songs, right? We just moved from like 3-minute thrash metal songs. We just kept expanding. And pretty soon it was pretty typical for us to have a 5 or a 7-minute long progressive metal song. It's just who we were. And eventually we got to this point where we had like, we had a 45-minute long set time. And our vocalist at the time didn't really like talking to the audience. It was like his least favorite part. We kind of thought we wanted to be able to walk on stage and say, let's say we're playing Chicago. We wanted to be able to walk on stage and be like, what the fuck's up, Chicago? We are the poly exclusion principle. And then just start playing. And then 45 minutes later, thank you very much. Good night. And we just wanted to walk off stage. We wanted to walk on stage and just start. And just for 45 minutes, just nonstop, just assault the shit out of your ears. And just assault your ear balls with just nonstop metal. And we had started to do that even before we wrote this. Because we would take, we'd had a 5-minute long song and a 7-minute long song, and we would play them back to back. There would be like no stop between the two songs. We would finish one song and immediately go into the other. And so like that was like 12 minutes, and then we would do that twice, and that's like 24 minutes, and you do that 2-3 times, and that's pretty much it, and the more songs we wrote, the longer they got, the more, we'd start linking 2 or 3 songs together. And we eventually was just like, how cool would it be to walk on stage, tell everybody the name of our band, start playing, and just don't fucking stop. If we got 45 minutes, we play for 45 minutes nonstop. And then when we're done, good night. And we just walk off stage. We thought that would have been the coolest fucking thing. Now imagine you go to a concert, you don't know who we are, we come out on stage, we say, what the fuck's up? We are the poly exclusion principle. The lights go out, we start playing, and then a comic book appears behind us. And the whole time we're playing on stage, headbanging or whatever, there's like this visual comic book that matches our music. And then and you're just kind of like watching it because you've never seen it before. You're kind of like sucked into the story, or you're in the pit losing your mind. 45 minutes later, the story comes to an end. We go, good night, and walk off stage. Like, we thought this would have been unbelievably memorable. Like, there's no way you would see us and not remember who the fuck we are. And you'd probably go home and be like, dude, I got to look these guys up. And you'd look us up on YouTube, and sure as shit, there's the comic. And then you'd go and tell your friends, oh my God, you got to check these guys out. And then you would show them the comic. And then, of course, we would have the comic book for sale and the T-shirts with the images, and we would have little pop cap toys or whatever. You kind of see how the marketing just sells itself. And, then we go to the comic book conventions and do signatures. And, we put on a little 5-10 minute show at the comic book convention. Marketing genius. But never got to go through with it. So you might say if you have 45 minutes and you have a 45-minute long song, the downside is if you had like 10 albums, you could only ever play one album, right? Like, you know what I mean? If I go and see like my favorite band, and I don't know, man, I'm kind of on the spot, like You want to see Aerosmith in concert. You don't really expect Aerosmith to play only songs off their Pump album. You kind of expect them to play all of their greatest hits off all of their albums. How could we ever do that? Well, I got an answer. In our song, there are what we called linking riffs, basically scales. So a riff would be like, well, that scale was a linking riff, and we would reuse those riffs in other songs. So when we played a show live, we could play song 1 up to that linking riff. And instead of going into the beatdown, we would go into song 2 that used that same riff. But in song 2, you know, maybe it was something like ba ba da da. So like, you know, song 1 da 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 do 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 do. But in song 2, maybe it's like, I don't know. Right, okay. So then when we played on stage, we could play song 1, play the linking riff, and then jump to song 2, ba 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 da da da, and then we would just play song 2 until we got to the next linking riff, and then we could jump to any of our other songs. So we would always have to build our sets based around these linking riffs, but we could still make quote-unquote set lists. And how cool would that be? And then, of course, we thought, well, why does the comic that plays behind us, why does it always have to be the official comic? Why don't we set up a portal? So this kind of goes back to the days of Newgrounds, if anybody remembers that. We thought it would be real cool to take our riffs, linking riff to linking riff, put them on our website, and allow you to download just that portion of the music. Then you could draw your own comic book and sync it up, and then re-upload it to our site, where it would go through like a review process where other people could watch it and vote on it. And if it got a certain score after a certain amount of votes, or maybe we just watch it and approve it, depending on how popular we are, we would approve it, like make sure there's nothing crazy in it, because people on the internet are shitheads. I don't mind if you're like hiding dicks in there. That's kind of funny, but you know, there's other terrible fucking shit out there that people would try to sneak in. Once it got approved, we were going to put it into like a folder. So the application that I'm a programmer, that played the comic behind us was going to be synced up to our set list for that night. And we were going to randomly pull animations that fans had submitted for our riffs. So you could go to our website, download a portion of the song, draw your own comic and submit it to us. And then when we play the song on stage, we would pull this animation potentially, because it would be random, but we're playing that riff, so we would pull a random animation that had been submitted to us by a fan for that portion, and we would display it on stage. And this app, which I actually did write, would take in location into account. So if you submitted a comic book from us and you live in Houston, Texas, and we're playing somewhere around Houston, Texas tonight, well, your video gets priority. So if you come to our show in Houston, you're more likely to see animations submitted by people in the Houston area. So you might see your comic on stage with us when we play. And we thought that would be super cool for the fans. And I always had this secret hope that we would get big enough that like legit artists would care. Like maybe the guy that draws Ren and Stimpy would be like, oh, hell yeah. And he would draw like a little 2-minute animation for us. But that's like big picture dreaming. But you never know, you know, like, oh, how cool would it be if, you know, yeah, you know, the fucking Ren and Stimpy guy submitted some shit, or like, you know, I don't know, Aaron from Game Grumps or something, you know, like how cool would it be if like somebody who was like somebody in the art world submitted shit. But we always thought that would be super cool. And we also had other ideas. We wanted to do like a Gwar-like show just once. We didn't want to be Gwar, but we thought it would be really cool if people in costumes like badly acted it out and like sprayed blood everywhere. We had the idea of doing like a kids version of that. This one was one of my favorite ideas. And it was literally where we were going to take like a bunch of like 5-year-olds or whatever and have them like draw the scenery and like make costumes out of cardboard boxes so that everything was like super low budget and childish. I remember everybody looking at me like my fucking head was on fire, but I was like, dude, it's going to be awesome. Like, pretty much like the Guar show, but like super low budget. Like, you know, it couldn't actually be cardboard costumes because the cardboard costumes would probably get torn apart on the road, but our costumes would look like they, you know, we would basically have a bunch of kids in art camp design our costumes out of cardboard, and then we would make them out of more sturdy material. But yeah. And one of the ideas was like I this one's harder to explain, but like I wanted to like get the band to like be up on like pillars above the stage, like high up. And then we would wear togas like we were gods, like Greek gods. And then we would play and then people would act it out below us, you know, like, so like we were gods, like orchestrating the world, you know, like our music was controlling what was happening on the planet below us. I always thought that would be like a really cool show to do. I mean, most of our shows were going to be us just coming out on stage, you know, long beards and dirty clothes because we were poor and young, probably drunk. But there were some ideas of doing some like classier, but, you know, bigger spirit shows, Guar shows where people spray blood everywhere, little kid shows. And I like the idea of us wearing togas and being like gods on pillars above, people acting it out below us. I had a ton of ideas for this shit, man. But I mean, how cool would that be? You know? So what else am I missing? Have I covered all the bases? I kind of feel like I have. So maybe we just jump into the comic. So let's do this. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to. So I'm standing up right now. I'm going to have to move my camera. I have to sit down. So give me a second here. Is that good? Can you see us? Because there is a lot going on in this comic. All right. Probably going to get a few more messages, but that's fine. All right, let me get comfortable. So we're not going to watch the whole thing. I'm just going to try to like skip through and kind of like talk about some of the details that were in this comic that we were really hoping people would notice. So let's hit play and let's see what we got. My original thought was I was going to edit this video to make it, you know, like an actual like video blog that you see professionals do on YouTube, but probably just going to upload this one take shit right here. So okay, so this is key. This is key. The first two images that you see, I guess I could, well, maybe not. 5 seconds. You're going to see this. So this is a big blue crystal ball. Now, if you pay attention, so this is the first 2 frames in the animation, but this is actually the last thing that happens in the story. This blue crystal ball, if you pay attention later, is the crystal ball that the wizard uses to send the barbarian through the multiple dimensions. And you notice here, it's missing a chunk. And so we go to this next frame, and here we see a hand. And if you pay attention to this gold shit here, this is the barbarian's hand, and he's holding a chunk of the crystal ball. This is literally the last thing that happens in the comic. So we're going to, everything that happens after this, right? Let's fade out. This is all a flashback, right? This happens before those first 2 frames. So let's jump all the way to the end of the story here. So we're going to jump to about here. Okay, so this is pretty good. So you see here we have the crystal ball, and the wizard here has used the magic to, you know, trap the barbarian. And I'm just going to mute it so that we can We could just let it play. All right, the wizard's like doing his thing. All right, he's got his woman. He's killing the woman. Spoilers ahead. All right, so here we see the barbarian is like defeated, right? All right. Flashbacks. We'll get to all of this later, I promise. Let's go about here. 5 seconds is a lot in comic book frames, I'm learning. Okay. All right. Well, right here. This is a good shot. So here's what happens, right? The barbarian is held prisoner by the magic of the crystal ball. He watches the wizard kill his wife, and he, like, tries to fight it. Then as his wife dies, he pretty much, like, sinks down and gives up, and then the wizard sends the barbarian to this, like, desolate wasteland here in the end. And here we see the barbarian on his knees looking down into his hands. This image is selling you the idea that the barbarian was defeated, right? That he lost everything. His wife died. He didn't defeat the wizard. He's a broken man on his hands and knees. And he's like sent way off into the future, right? The wizard sent the barbarian like super far into the future where the sun is like a red giant. The earth is dead. There's nobody alive. There's no plants. It's super fucking hot. He's just going to sit here and just like burn and starve to death and die, because that's how the wizard wanted to take care of him. And we see him on his hands and knees defeated. What you were going to find out in the third album, which was going to be the sequel to this, which I forgot to tell you about. If there was going to be, we had a sequel planned for this. The barbarian is looking down, and he's not looking down into his hands in defeat like, oh my God, I've lost everything. He's looking down into his hands because this is the second frame of the comic. He has a shard of the crystal ball in his hands. When the wizard was cutting his wife's throat, he tried to break free. He pushed with so much force, he shattered the crystal, and he caught a piece of the shard as the wizard sent him into the future. And here he is on his knees looking at the shard that we saw way back here in the beginning. That right there. Those two frames are the same frame. He's looking at the shard because the sequel of this was going to be the barbarian doesn't have any magic ability. He doesn't know any spells. So kind of like Samurai Jack, he was going to try to travel the world, find a magic artifact of some kind. That magic artifact would power up this crystal shard and he would be able to jump through a portal. And that portal would take him to another alternate universe. And he was going to like Samurai Jack, or I guess that's a bad example because Samurai Jack never actually got to travel. He never got to use the portals. Quantum Leap, maybe. He was just going to portal hop, trying to get back to his original timeline to defeat the wizard and potentially save his wife. But he has no magic spells. He doesn't know how to use the shard. All he can do is find a magic artifact, power it up, and just see where the fuck it takes him. Because he can't actually control the portal because he doesn't know how. So that was going to be our third album. That was going to be our third album because we needed to set the plan right away. You know, album 2 had to be something different. Super Secret Spy. Album 3, let's go back to this wizard and barbarian to let you know that we do revisit stuff. And then album 4 could be whatever the shit we want. And periodically between the albums, we were just going to do like, here's a 5-minute song, here's just a little short story about a dog or whatever. So these two frames are actually the end of the song. Okay, cool. We got the wizard. Zoom out of the wizard's face. Here we see the wizard. He's like, you know, lording over his orc army. I'm sorry. I know I said I wasn't gonna. I gotta check this. Grandma has my child. Like I said, typically I was going to edit this video, but I'm probably not going to edit this. Okay. Everything's good. So here we see the barbarian. So here's, how do I do this? I kind of don't want to give away spoilers, but I'm going to give away spoilers a bit. I guess you've seen how it ends. So we're kind of trying to build the contrast here. You know, like here's the wizard. And it's just like he looks all menacing with the scar over his eye. He's got his orc army. Here we see, you know, the barbarian. He's got his beautiful wife. He's got his kid. You know, they're outside. They're playing in the sun. He's all like hot and attractive or whatever. And then you got the wizard with his long nails and his scar. He's in his dingy castle with all of his orcs, and they're like making weapons. He's playing with his son and looking lovingly into his wife's eyes. And they're over here gearing up for bloody war, doing their orc shit, you know, wiling out. Poof. The wizard on his dragon, the orc army marching their way. Where could the army be heading? You know, here we have him. He's playing with his son, having a good day. He's such a good guy. Here's the orc army, but there's a village in the distance. He's like, all right, honey, I love you. I'm going to go hunting. She's watching her son. He's playing with toys. She sees in the distance the orc army's on its way. He's out hunting for deer. He looks over, he sees the village is under attack. He tries to haul ass to get back home. Big ass battle breaks out. Orcs break into the house. She tries to fight him off. They kidnap his wife. They kill his son. Boo. Because they're evil. He gets to the battle. We see he's a badass. He's cutting off arms. He's cutting off heads. He's slicing open guts. He gets to the house. The shot in the doorway. His son is dead. His house is ransacked. He's super pissed off. He grabs a rope, ties it to a spear, fights his way, gets a horse, yada, yada, yada. You know, the spear with the rope is hanging off the dragon. Chases it down, jumps on, blah, 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 blah. Tries to chase after him, but the wizard burns the rope, and so he falls, and he watches the wizard fly off back into his castle. I guess I'll rewind just a little bit. And he's like looking at the vast distance that he has to cross to get to that castle. Right? Typical story, and then you get like a little montage of him being a badass. He had to fight like a giant bird. Here's some sort of crazy sandworm. This is like a big blob monster. Blob monster. Blah. I like the blob monster. Here he's in like a snowy wasteland, and like a big old Yeti monster's out to get him. Now, this was a real missed opportunity that we did not think about until we had sent the script off. Right here, like literally, I sent the script off, and like 2 days later, Dooley came back to me and was like, bro, why isn't he wearing the Yeti? And I was like, what? And Dooley showed me the script. He's like, right here, he fights this big Yeti monster. And I was like, yeah? And he's like, right here in this scene, for the rest of this castle fight, why isn't he wearing the Yeti like a fucking coat? You know, like the Yeti skull on his head, and he's got it draped. I was like, oh my God, that'd be fucking awesome. So we're super bummed out that right here, he's not wearing the skin and the skull of that Yeti like a coat or a piece of armor. You know, and then he gets to the castle. So this whole thing here is kind of, we wanted to build up the idea. I'm kind of talking some obvious shit, but I mean, this is the only video I'm going to make, so let's cover it all. We really wanted to build up the idea, you know, good versus evil, right? Like, I mean, I'm just kind of skipping back. Like, oh, here he is with his beautiful wife and his attractive kid, and he's handsome and strong, and the wizard's like over here all like scarred up with long nails and a dingy thing, you know, happy and loving, you know, war and ugly. You know, this real good versus evil. We really wanted to paint this picture that clearly he's the bad guy with his bone staff, and he's the good guy with his beautiful wife and kid. But, and this is where the, you know, this is where I'm just going to spoil it right now because I don't feel like I can get all the way through this without. That's the thing, though. That is not the actual story. if you watch this the first time through, you're going to get this story of the wizard is a super shitty, mean, bad guy who just goes and like kidnaps the barbarian's wife, kind of unmotivated, you know, maybe some unknown backstory. Like Bowser takes Princess Peach in the first Mario game. Like, why? I don't know. Doesn't matter, you know? Doesn't matter. Who cares? But the truth is we actually explain all of it. And by the end of this cartoon, what you see here is that the wizard, despite everything that's been sold to you, is, I'm going to call him the good guy, and the barbarian is the bad guy. This is a classic action revenge story told through the bad guy's eyes. The barbarian is the bad guy. What we're going to learn, we're going to skip ahead. Ooh, let me see if I can find it. Where are we at? All right. Pirates. Okay. Let me skip. I'm looking. All right. So right about here. Okay. So here we see that the barbarian has finally, this is towards the end, he's caught the wizard. And he's like, you know, I'm going to kick your ass, wizard. You've put me through a lot of shit, you know? You're fucked. And the wizard, you know, he's like, the wizard's like, look into my eyes and let me show you why I'm doing what I've done. Now, this riff right here is going to be real crazy and awful. It's going to sound like noise. I will explain that when we get here. In fact, I'm just going to mute it to not have to worry about that. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing this beautiful woman, and she's looking out her window, much like the barbarian's wife did in the beginning, except the army that she sees coming after her is the barbarian army. Because they're barbarians. This is what barbarians do, guys. They just attack and ransack and raid innocent villages. Barbarians weren't nice people. They weren't good. Conan the Barbarian was not a guy that you wanted to, like, hang out with. He was a fucking barbarian. So, this is the wizard's mother, and she's just a fine, beautiful, peaceful lady minding her own fucking business when the barbarian's awesome-ass, mean-ass army shows up and ransacks the village. And it's the barbarians who attack first. And it was this barbarian, specifically, who broke into the wizard's house. Here's the wizard as a boy. And he straight up, yeah, his mom tries to defend her son, and he kills the mother. And he thinks he killed the barbarian. This is where the barbarian got the scar on his eye. But he didn't. The wizard ended up living. And the wizard had to end up working in a mine because he was now, you know, a kid living in medieval times with, like, no parents and shit. And I'm just going to kind of skip back because, you know, we'll get to all of that eventually. But the point is we spend all of this time here in the beginning painting this picture that this wizard is the bad guy because he's all ugly and scarred up and got a bunch of orcs. And this guy here's the good guy because he's all attractive and beautiful. But really, he's the bad guy. This is your classic revenge story told through the point of view of the bad guy. That's why the barbarian never wins. He wasn't able to rescue his wife. He wasn't able to save his kid. He wasn't able to save the village because in these stories, the bad guy loses, right? At the end of Die Hard, Hans Gruber gets thrown off the roof of a building. He doesn't win. The barbarian doesn't win at all, ever. But you don't know that yet. At this point in time, you think this is all just classic setup. And that's the beauty of this story. We really wanted you to, like, think the barbarian was the good guy. And we assumed that a lot of people would probably, like, never realize that the wizard is the good guy. They would always think the barbarian is the good guy. And that was totally fine. That's really what we wanted. We wanted you to think the barbarian was the good guy. It's how we viewed it. When we wrote this, we were like, the barbarian's the good guy, but in the back of our minds, we always knew that really the wizard was. Yeah, so I think that's really, really cool. Now, this scene here was just kind of set up. We always thought that maybe it would be cool to do like a third version of this or like a mini. You know, we're going to release not a 45-minute long album. We're going to do like a 5-minute long song. we thought it might be cool to start here. You know, this is like a montage of him like fighting his way, right? He has to get like all the way through this forest and this swamp, you know, all the way over there to that castle in the distance. And we thought, you know, we could write like a 5-minute long song and do a cartoon, and maybe we could like go into this, you know. What happens? You just get a montage here to show that the barbarian's a badass, you know, that he can take down all of these kick-ass monsters, but also, you know, just a little bit of room. I always imagine this in my head, that he has like an entire Legend of Zelda game. From this tree all the way to that castle, a picture him going all the way through a Legend of a Zelda adventure, and then he gets to the castle at the end. And we always thought it would be cool to maybe, like, you know, in one of our little mini, you know, here's just like a 5-minute long song we released one month. Like, maybe it'd be cool to do the song where we talk about this fucking blob monster, because I love this blob monster. Look at that guy. That guy's fantastic, dude. It's a blue slime, man. Classic RPG monster. All right, so he gets to the castle. He fights his way in. Nothing really crazy here. Kicks a lot of ass. Fights his way up to the top of the tower. He sees his woman. He gets ready to fight the wizard. Now, here's the thing. This is the first battle between him and the wizard. Second, the wizard uses the blue stone. The blue stone that you saw in the beginning. There it is. Cracked. And he's holding a shard of it. And he uses it to have the water suck him into a portal. Now, this is something that I always thought was really cool, but comic book style. This would be cooler if we could have more movement. This is like one of those trippy... He gets pulled underwater. So this is him like in the multiverse, right? Like he's just sort of floating in a void. And he sees like all of these like different versions of him, like faceless versions of people. And these are supposed to represent like all the different versions of who he is, you know, or who he could be in all of these other alternate universes. And there's so many that when you zoom out, right, you keep zooming out, so many of them, they're starting to look like stars, right? And you keep zooming out, and there's so many that like now it's starting to look like space. And now you see that there's like entire galaxies. And then you keep zooming out. And this is like one of those really trippy effects that is kind of hard to sell in comic book form. But now we're zooming out of his eye. I don't know how to put that into words, you know, but it's like he sees the people and then the camera pans out and there's like a bunch of people and it pans out and now you can't even tell which one's him, and the camera keeps zooming out and now they're like little specks and it keeps zooming out and now they look like stars and then it looks like planets and galaxies, and you keep zooming out until eventually it zooms out of his own eyeball and you're just like, I don't even know what happened. It was super trippy. And now he realizes he's like floating in this void and there's like all of these bubbles, and each one of these bubbles contains a universe. So he reaches out and touches one, and as soon as he touches one, he gets launched into it. And so the first time he goes into a universe, he doesn't just like wake up as a person. He literally like falls into this universe because he physically touched this one with his finger. And he crashes, and he stands up, and he's like, where the hell am I? And of course he caused a bunch of chaos, so all the cops and the robots show up to see what the shit's going on. And they're like, freeze. And he's like freaking out, you know, all these tough guys. Of course, he's not going to freeze. So they start shooting at him. He runs away, blah, 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 blah. A bunch of chaos fucking happens. I kind of feel like maybe we should be watching this right now. All right. So this is one of my favorite shots. I love this picture. I always thought this should be like, man, this is the album cover, right? The album cover was not this at the end of the day. It was actually kind of our own artistic rendition of the results of the Large Hadron Collider. I don't know. You can see on our YouTube page, there's different versions of it, which we just thought was artier. But I always thought like Guns N' Roses, you'd open up like Appetite for Destruction and there was like this alternate artwork on the inside of the book. And I always thought this is it. But look at this is a fucking poster to say the least. Who's this naked girl and why is she grabbing onto his leg? Who cares? This dude's like up here. This guy's missing half his face. All right. I don't really have anything to say about it. It's just, I'll just play this riff though for you, just to give you a little taste of the music. All right. So he punches into the guy's gut and rips out his spinal cord, like just with his bare fist, because he's that badass. This guy over here is so disgusted by what he saw that he pukes into a trash can. Right? The barbarian throws the spinal cord like a spear into this guy's gut and kills him. Then he picks up the trash bag full of that guy's puke and smacks him in the face with it. I fucking love this shit, man. He beats this guy in the face with a bag full of his own vomit. And then he just proceeds to just violently just beat the shit out of this guy on the ground. Now, this was the genius moment that I gotta give to Dooley. When we were writing this, we knew we wanted him to be able to travel to alternate dimensions so that we could do whatever we wanted with our imagination, but we didn't know what was going to cause the jump. One of the ideas that Dooley had that I really liked was water. Anytime he came in contact with water, he would like get sucked into it, like a puddle of water. He would like fall into it, or he could like purposely jump into like a lake or a pool. I thought that was really cool, and we talked about it. We were like, the problem is he has to always be around water. But, Dooley had a pretty strong argument. Dooley was the bass player. The drummer was dead by the time we actually got to write this, so he was unfortunately not around. And our singer had moved on to be in a band called Fire from the Gods, which are doing quite well. Check them out. They're a legit signed band. Opened up for Megadeth not too long ago. But anyways, he was like, look, man, I mean, there can always be water, right? Like, there's always a pool or a hose or water leaking from the ceiling or something. And I'm like, true. But then Dooley had this idea, and this idea is quite awesome. We'll turn up the music. Oh, well, I guess the music's kind of dying down at this point. And that is, he dies. This is literally the barbarian getting ripped in half by a giant robot. Now, here's what you probably would not have noticed your first time watching it, and that is, this is the wizard. Right? Like it crossfades so quick. You saw it, but you probably weren't really thinking about it. So you probably didn't really catch that it was the wizard. And that's super, super important because it's always the wizard that kills him. Always. Every time he dies, that's how he jumps to an alternate universe. Now, in this space universe, he fell from the sky because he physically touched the ball, right? So in this universe, he's not an alternate version of himself. He didn't like quantum leap into an alternate version of who he is in an alternate universe. He literally fell into this universe. Somewhere in this universe, that barbarian is a character. Somewhere else, somebody else. Mm-hmm. But when he dies, here, he gets ripped in half, and it's this death that causes him to jump to an alternate reality. And it's always the wizard that kills him. And even if you saw this, clearly he didn't because it came up behind him. And so here he wakes up and he's a private detective. Now this portion I wrote, and I love this. I think this is super cool. I was really big into the film noir thing. In fact, I watched a couple of film noir films that I can't remember. I watched them on YouTube, trying to like come up with good stories. And I think I came up with a pretty decent one. So here he is, private detective, sitting in his desk, you know, doing his film noir monologue in his head. And he gets a knock on the door. And little continuity error because she's not wearing the glove here. She should be. And of course, it's the woman, the sexy woman in the red dress. It's always the woman in the red dress. And she offers him a job. And we wanted him to open the file. There wasn't enough room in the comic book frames. I wanted him to open the file, and I forget exactly. I wanted his name to be something, a.k.a. Snake. Anyways, if anybody, you guys remember that scene from Home Alone where he uses the detective film to order the pizza? I used the names from that detective film to name our bad guy, our mob boss. And I wanted him to like look at the file and see it be those names. But there wasn't enough frames. We couldn't actually pull that one off. But yeah, the character, I can't remember what it is now, but the mob boss had a name, and his name was all of the names from that Home Alone scene combined. You filthy animal. So he goes to this warehouse, right? This is the tip that the lady in the red dress gave him, that there's a deal going down, a drug deal going down in this warehouse. And two things. One, you see a flyer, just a piece of trash blowing in the wind to let you know that this is the mayor of the city. And this warehouse is colored 301. Only important because this is the wedding date of the bass player. Yeah, it's his anniversary. We threw that in as a nice little loving thing. So he goes up and he's like, all right, this big mafia guy is going to be doing this drug deal. You know, we gotta stop it. So he sneaks around. Blah, 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 blah. Dark night, you know. He sees the deal. All right, here's the two guys doing their shady drug deal at the boat docks or whatever. Except when he gets a little closer, he notices this guy right here. Oh, wait a minute. That's the mayor. This isn't just a mafia dude doing a typical drug deal. He's literally paying off the mayor. And the mayor's turning a blind eye to all the drug shipments coming into the town or whatever. This is fucking big. And he's like, holy shit. So he pulls out, you know, hey, man, I'm a cop, a detective. You're under arrest. And they're like, shit, you know, we're busted. We're totally going to prison forever. This is not good. But while he's doing that, then we get this shot from a sniper rifle. And boom, the sniper rifle shoots the mayor. Who could have pulled the trigger? It was the lady in the red dress. Now, why would she send our detective there? You know, she tipped him off to let him know that this was happening. He gets there, he finds out that he's paying off the mayor. Then she shoots the mayor. It was a setup. He runs away. He fires his gun trying to get him. And then we find out that she's already called the cops. So then the police show up and they see our detective standing over the body of the shot mayor holding a smoking gun. Well, it's supposed to be smoking. Certainly looks like he just killed the mayor. Oh my God, it was a setup. I thought that was all pretty cool. I'm proud of myself for that one. And so, of course, he's like, I'm innocent, so he's got to fucking run. All right, this scene here was, I think, lost in translation. There were a few times where we sent the script off. So the people that did the artwork for us were Brazilian, and they did wonderful work. I can't say enough nice things about it. I mean, look at it. It's gorgeous. But every now and then, I feel like there was like lost in translation things that they just didn't understand because we would get artwork back that wasn't quite what we asked for. So here he's supposed to run into a building, which he kind of does here. He goes inside, but this was supposed to be like an office building with like cubicles and shit everywhere, you know? And he was supposed to have this big like shootout with the police in a cubicle farm office building. There was even a scene where he was supposed to be behind one cubicle. That shot might still be in here, but it's weird. And he like has to like do that, like he jumps out between the cubicles and like shoots his gun while he dives. He was supposed to shoot his way through a cubicle farm in this gunfight, like dodging police as they like shot the desks and like papers flew up everywhere. And he fought his way into an office, like the manager's office where it would be, where he finds a window and jumps out the window to escape. All right, that was the idea, is that his car is parked out front, he's out back, he runs into the office, shoots his way through the cubicle farm into the manager's office with a window and jumps out the window to get to his car to drive away. But I don't know. He ends up in a jail cell with like a single chair. We don't know where the cubicle farm went. And then here he's like by a window. And then he jumps out the window. Yeah, we're not sure what's going on here. He was supposed to do this move, but between two cubicles, not out the window. But whatever. You know? And so here he's like on the roof now. Like we don't really know how he jumped out the window and landed on what clearly looks to be like a roof. So we're not sure. Doesn't matter. And then he was supposed to jump out a window. So he jumps out two windows. We don't know. But they did such good work. We weren't really going to send it back. We were just like, it's fine. It's fine. It's not fine, but it's fine. Yeah, so that was supposed to be a cubicle shootout. And then he jumps out the window. And then he lands in the street. I don't know why the hell he lands in the street in that pose. That's a very weird way to land. We were expecting more of like a superhero pose landing. I don't know who lands like that. But and then he instantly gets hit by a truck. Killed. Right? Trying to jump out the window to get to his car. But as soon as he lands in the street, boom. Kind of like Final Destination with that bus hitting that kid. Mowed over by the truck. And who was driving the truck? Well, we don't know. We couldn't see, but it was the wizard. And so he wakes up and now he's in another timeline. And here he is. He's just like a badass space marine. He's flying this jet, you know, kicking ass. Okay, so this was really cool. So there's like this one dude, you know, he's like blowing all these other dudes up, right? He goes into this tunnel. This one dude chases him. He can't seem to shake this one bad guy, right? Because our dude's here. This bad guy's here. So he pulls off this super cool move. Oh, I guess we got to watch this. Oh, it's not playing. Where he pulls the ejection thing, launches out of his jet, and lands. So you got to picture that the two jets are moving forward. So he would like fly straight up in the air and kind of like back and then land on the enemy's thing. Punches through the dude's windshield, pulls the dude out of his ship, pulls his mask off. Here we see like a Total Recall thing, like in the vacuum of space. The guy's eyeballs all bust out of his head. He goes into the enemy's space jet, hits a special button, and for some reason, the enemy's jet can turn into a giant robot. Makes no sense. We don't care because it's cool. And now he's in a kick-ass robot, so he just starts blowing shit up. And this scene here is very roughly, there's a Gundam movie, I think, where there's like a scene where like a big Gundam robot blows up like a big space and there's like a bunch of bodies like floating through. So yeah, I don't really remember what it's called. They had to like cut off their arms and legs to travel the Gundam robots. Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. The rest of y'all, it's not important. So he blows up the big ship. He lands on the planet Earth as the ship crashes in the background. Now he's just like fucking up little soldiers because he's in a giant robot and they're not. You know, they're kind of like all around him and he's just like kind of like that end scene in the first Avengers film. Captain America's got the shield. Iron Man's like shooting everybody and then he shoots the shield and blows everybody up. It's kind of like that. But then a bad robot comes. And so here we're supposed to see that he's now out of ammo when this bad guy robot shows up. He's like, I'll get you. But he's out of bullets. So he's like, okay, fuck you. I'll just launch my whole fist at you. Oh, I lied. Not yet. Yeah, just to take out the robot, just to be a badass, he launches his fist at the robot. Then he goes to shoot this guy, and he doesn't have any fist. He doesn't have his fucking laser gun anymore. So I had that backwards. And so he just jumps out the cockpit and lets the robot, now powerless, crush the guy. You know? He's like, all right, fuck it. And the robot, you know, now it has nobody driving it. He just turned it off, and so the robot just falls, and it crushes the poor dude. But then he's in deep shit because for no reason at all, simply because it's cool, a big four-armed monster comes busting out of the ground. And of course, shit's fallen from all the chaos, and he sees this dude meditating, totally doesn't care about the shit. The dude meditating gets killed, and with his final breath, he releases the breath of a spirit wolf. Again, just because it's cool. Even though he has a helmet with a mask on, he somehow inhales the spirit wolf, and it causes him to grow super large. And now they're both giants, and now we have a giant fist fight. I mean, you can tell there was a decent amount of marijuana involved in this story, but how cool is this story? And we're just going to let this jam out. Oh man, we got to go back. I just like this whole riff is like one of my favorite parts of the song. All right. That's pretty cool. So, did you notice it? Just to let you guys know, if you would have noticed who was driving the robot, did you notice who's controlling the giant? Right here. Here he is. It's our wizard friend, because it's always our wizard friend. The barbarian, although presented to be the good guy, is the bad guy. It's why he keeps losing. He gets ripped in half. Here he gets his arms ripped off and his head cut off because he's the bad guy. And who's defeating the bad guy? The wizard. Right here. There's like another shot. I'll probably skip it because I'm going in 5 minutes. Yeah, you can see him here again on the shoulder of the giant. And I love this, man. It's like he rips this dude's arms off. He rips his arms off. Let me mute it to make sure you can hear me. Oh my God. And then beats him with his own arms. So cool. So cool. Throws him through a building, breathes fire on him. And then I love this shot right here, man. This is so cool. A four-armed monster, and he's got his arms in two hands, and he's got the sword in his head in the other. What a cool fucking shot, man. So cool. Then he wakes up, and he's a cowboy. And so I'm going to let this one play just because this is the example that I gave. Again, this is a good point to remind you. We didn't write a story and then like make it match the music. We literally got high, listened to the riffs. What did the riffs make us think of? And then we made that into a story. Every image that you see is inspired by the riff that you hear. And this was the one that I gave as an example. I heard a train, and the bass player heard somebody chasing after a train. So we asked ourselves, why would you chase after a train? And we had a couple of ideas, and we came up with they're cowboy train robbers. So here's the riff to let you kind of get an idea. Hear the train? He almost caught the train, but he can't quite get it. Almost. Got it. Boom, kicks open the door. We love those like little pauses where it's just like, give me all your fucking money. This is a robbery. Stick 'em up. Right, and so here he is, he's robbing people. Oh, one of the things I didn't talk about, you'll notice that only portions of the comic are colored. I colored everything. They drew it, but I colored it. And you'll notice that I didn't color everything. I can't believe it's taken me this long to point this out. And that is on purpose. One, I think it's like really stylistically cool, you know, kind of like Sin City in a weird sort of way. But two, because if you're in the back row, if we're playing on stage and this is projected behind us and you're in the back row, you'll notice what's colored. You'll see the important part of the story. If all of this was colored, if you were in the back row, this might be too blurry, too busy to like really tell what's going on. But since these guys are non-important to this specific scene, they're not colored. That way in the back row, what is important stands out. Plus, you know, it's really cool and visually stylistic. Like, I love it. Right, and he's robbing everybody, right? And while he's robbing everybody, there's a guy in the front row who's just not going to take it, you know? And so he goes to rob the guy in the front row. The dude in the front row pulls out his gun, and for the first time since his alternate universe travels have begun, he's now face to face with the guy who's been killing him. And for the first time, he sees who it is who's been killing him, and he is very, very shocked. Oh my God. It's the wizard. Now, you guys already knew this because I spoiled it. But this is the big reveal where you finally realize the wizard is the one that's been killing him the whole time. And of course, the wizard, to the head. Okay, so this artwork was drawn by, I'm going to guess, the intern, because it is not so good. But again, the rest of their work was so great, we let it ride. Now, this one is another one that gets a little bit lost in translation. Also, simply because it was done by a different artist, we think. This artwork is not so great. So he wakes up. So now that he knows the wizard is the one that's killing him, he's on a mission to find the wizard, right? Oh my God, the wizard's here with me. I'm going to go kick his ass. So he wakes up in like Final Fantasy world, and he's just on this like, I don't care who I am. I don't care what I am. I know the wizard is here. I'm going to go get him. Now that I know what's going on. And oh, there's the wizard. He's found the wizard. So he's like, shit, yeah. You know, none of this fucking train robbery shit. None of this space shit. You know what I mean? Just balls to the wall. There's the wizard. I'm going to kill him. And you'll notice this is the wizard's staff in this frame. Yeah, this is 2 frames crossed over each other. I forgot to delete this. I just didn't color it. Nobody's ever noticed it, but literally the frame below this one comic book was the wizard's staff, like crossing the border. Yeah. And he's like, oh, I found you, wizard. I'm going to kick your ass now that I know it's you. And then the wizard lifts his hood. The wizard was supposed to be covered in shadow, and then he was supposed to pick his head up. And, well, it's a wizard, but it's not our wizard. This is a completely different wizard. And this wizard is like, I'm fucking cool, so check this out. And he casts a magic spell where giant chains come out of the ground. And they chain up the moon. Right? And now that the moon's chained up and pulled closer, although this doesn't make a ton of sense because it's not how it works, the full moon in the sky causes zombies. Should be werewolves. Again, we don't care. Yeah, so basically he chains up the moon and pulls it closer to make it a big old bright full moon so that zombies will come out of the ground. And of course our barbarian guy fights zombies. Now, here we are somewhere else. This is our wizard. And in this dimension, our wizard is a military commander. And he sees that there's a zombie outbreak going on here in Virginia. And that's because that's where we're from. And so he's like, all right, DEFCON 3, puts the key in. He pushes the button. This guy's fighting the zombies. There's too many of them. He runs into a house for protection. The satellite's powering up. The zombies are breaking in. He's still fighting them off, but he's cornered. Okay, so this is something that we thought was cool. Hard to sell in comic book form, but the zombies start eating him alive, right? These are like his intestines, and he's in like a lot of pain. He's suffering. But we can't let the zombies kill him, because if the zombies kill him, the wizard didn't kill him, and the wizard always has to kill him. So while he's getting eaten alive, before he can die from being eaten alive, the big old laser beam powered up by the wizard as the army commander nukes the zombie area. Okay, so now that we know it's the wizard, right? Why is the wizard doing this? Well, every time he kills the barbarian in an alternate dimension, he gets a barbarian soul. And that allows him to get stronger, which allows his army to get stronger. So while the barbarian is dying, here we have the wizard's orc army taking over the kingdom of man. Right? So here's just like a regular siege. The orcs are attacking a fort. They release like a big old monolith guy, a big old juggernaut dude. Ransacks the fort, kills the noble, burns the place down. All right, so I need to go back because I think I want to talk about this riff. Okay. So towards the end, this is where it's going to get a little upsetting. Our drummer was kind of falling pretty hard into drugs. And while all of these drums were programmed because they were like a demo, it's just kind of how, get an idea of what the song would sound like. Recorded, plus our drummer passed away. We never got to actually record the real drums. As typically happens with addiction, he cares less and less about anything other than the addiction, and he got into this mode where this song is written in a lot of like 12/8 time. That is, for every bar of music there are 12/8 notes, and you'll notice that you can't really have 12/8 notes in a bar, so they're like, it's got this like triplet feel, right? So like typically in music, 4 quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like a Green Day song, da 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 da, it's 2 bars long, da 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 da. All right. And you could have like quarter notes, da, 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 da. You could have eighth notes, da, 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 and 16th notes, da, 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 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, right? But we have 12/8 notes, which means they have to play like in this like little dotted like triplet pattern. That means there's 3 notes per quarter note. Da 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 da. Da 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 do 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 da 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 do 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 da 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 do 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 da 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 do 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 da 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 do 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 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and if 3 times 4 is 12, so you have 12, and 8 is as close as you can get because there's no real like a 12th note, so you have 12/8 notes in a bar. And I really like it because it like allows you to sound like your song is faster, you could play at a slower BPM but still have a faster pace, you know, because it's faster than eighth notes but slower than 16th notes. And so it was always my favorite time signature. I just naturally hear shit in 12/8. All of my riffs just kind of come out in 12/8. But the drummer like really just started to hate the fact that he couldn't just do like standard 4/4 time. Like he couldn't do like the classic Metallica beat, the bass drum on 1 and the snare on the and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and, you know, right? That's what you hear like a lot in like thrash metal. And so we decided that we were going to give him 8 minutes of eighth notes. For 8 minutes, we were going to play in standard 4/4 timing with nothing but eighth notes, just to let him just go fucking crazy with his like standard 4/4 timing to just kind of get at it. And so that's what this part is. This starts 8 minutes of eighth notes. All right. Yeah, you get the idea. It's a lot. 8 minutes of eighth notes. It actually turns out to be 10 minutes because when we did the breakdown with the actual time signature, so that every time change was like half or a quarter of a central time. I forget what the core time signature was, but every time signature in the song, every riff is like you know, it either doubles or it increases or decreases by like a quarter or double the time. Because the time signatures aren't just like random, like whatever feels right. Like it's mathematically. Yeah, they're all an average of like 90 BPM or 120 or something like that. And when we did that math, this riff that we had written turned out to be 10 minutes long. And we talked about cutting it down, but 8 minutes of eighth notes is a lot of music to kind of memorize, and you sort of get it into muscle memory, and it's really hard to change it. We tried cutting riffs out, and we couldn't fucking do it. Because that's something that I can't believe I forgot to tell you. Throughout this song, although it's 46 minutes and 30 seconds long, not a single riff repeats. That is to say, a bar repeats. One riff can be like a repeating bar 3 times and then something, right? Like that's a riff, but that riff doesn't repeat. Well, I guess that section doesn't repeat. Like one part of a riff could be like A, but the whole riff could be like A, B, A, C, 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 C. You know what I mean? But once we play a riff, we never go back to it, right? Like this. Like you'll never hear that again, right? Like that's it. It's the one time, you know? You'll never hear that riff ever again, right? Like it's donezo. Like we only play something once and then it's gone. So anyways, so during this 8 minutes of eighth notes, we get a little montage that kind of shows you that like why, while the barbarian is dying over and over and over again in these alternate universes, the wizard is collecting the barbarian souls from these alternate, you know, the wizard is killing the barbarian, so he gets to collect the souls, and he's using the souls to build up his orc army, and his orc army is conquering the land of the barbarians, burning down the fort. And then the wizard's like, so like on one side of the pool, I guess we probably see it. We get a zoom out. Yeah, so here, you know, the wizard's like, this is the pool, right? Like the woman is chained up over here, the barbarian, the door is here, the crystal ball's up here. You know, the wizard, this is the bridge that they were standing on when the barbarian got pulled into the water. And the wizard's standing here, and on one side, he sees his army, you know, he can see kind of like Mum-Ra with his crystal ball or whatever. And over here, he sees the barbarian. So this is what's happening in the world of the wizard. His orc army is taking down the world of Barbarian Man. And over here, the Barbarian is now an Indiana Jones style explorer. And he's like, yeah, check it out. I'm kicking ass. Your husband's dying, and I'm ruling the world. Okay, so this is really cool. This is really cool. So he's stolen this monkey. And these tribesmen are chasing after him because he's got this sacred monkey helmet. Right? Pitfall style, jumping over the alligators. They're like throwing spears at him and shit. You know, this is kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark when he like steals the idol from the temple and he's got to run away from the natives to get on the plane. Pitfall style, you know, swing over the spikes. Avoid the booby traps. All right. So we see this temple. And this temple appears to have carvings on it of some crazy-ass battle that took place in the past. And he's like, well, that temple's probably dangerous, but I got no choice to go in because I'm being chased. So he goes into the temple. He avoids the traps, Indiana Jones style again. He steps on the platform that causes the floor to fall, but he makes the dodge, right? All right, cool. Here's a big stone statue that's come alive. He dodges the stone statue and like gets under a door that's closing. Is he going to make it? Indiana Jones style, slides under the door. Finds he's in a whole room full of treasure. Kick ass. All right, but there's more statues behind him that he didn't notice. He notices the statues are alive. All right. This right here is an Easter egg that we didn't expect anyone to ever find. Notice that this skull right here has a big old crack on it as if somebody brained him with like a big rock or something. He tries to shoot the statues. It's no good. He backs up. He doesn't realize he steps on a bad panel. Spike comes out the ground. Killed, right? Dead, killed by a spike. But wait, you might think to yourself, this violates our rule. The wizard always has to kill the barbarian. But here the barbarian's been killed by a spike, not the wizard. How does this work? Well, we're going to have to skip ahead. I'm not entirely sure to where. Well, okay, fuck it. Just keep that in mind. All right, we get another montage. Now we're back to the world of the orcs. You can see the orcs are a little bit stronger. Instead of just like a big green guy, now they got like big purple spikes coming out of them, like a video game. They've like leveled up. The humans think they stand a chance, but they fucking don't. Oh, there is a cool scene here somewhere. Did I miss it? Yeah, so they like shoot these big catapults into these towers and then they pull on the chains to pull the towers down like you would topple a statue. And then on the other side of the castle, they shoot the chains into the other tower and they pull it down. It's pretty cool, I think. I guess I missed it. Somewhere the orc picks a guy up by his leg and like smacks him on the ground. I guess the Hulk ended up doing that in an Avengers movie, but whatever. We thought of it too. And then here they find the king. They fucking hang him. And I love that shot. It's, you know, and you can see that like it's getting bigger, right? Like they burned down like a wood fort, but now they're in like a castle built out of stone. And while the first noble just had like a noble tabard on, this guy actually had like a small crown. You know, he was like somebody, like an actual lord or whatever. And you can see that the orc is holding up the crown. He's hanging. All right, we're going to fast forward. This is another one that got lost in translation, but it's pretty cool. So we see the barbarian. Are you ready? In this corner, we got the barbarian. And then in this corner. So here we see our wizard friend. This is not supposed to be our wizard. This is supposed to be a guy who's wearing a luchador mask like this. And it's like a big battle royale. And yeah, it's just supposed to happen that the luchador mask guy is supposed to body slam our barbarian and break his neck. And then this scene here, oh, don't mind that. This scene here was supposed to be, you're supposed to think it was the wizard because he was wearing the luchador mask, and it's another fake. Here he's supposed to be taking off his mask and we see it's not the wizard, but there was supposed to be a manager throughout these scenes, like here in the background. So this one might not have been lost in translation. This might have been an artistic decision to like tell the story better. Again, these artists are fantastic, dude. I got no complaints. But you're supposed to think he's fighting the wizard here. And then when he removes his mask, his manager is supposed to be holding his arm up in celebration. And you're supposed to realize that the wizard is the manager and he's just like a dude. But it's really minor. Who fucking cares? But yeah, I mean, WrestleMania style wrestling match. And then here we go. Oh man. Okay. So a couple things before I forget. We had in our minds, we wanted like a crazy montage. Like, had this been animated before we had even the idea of the wizard constantly killing him, we had this crazy idea of like a montage where there was just like all kinds of silly deaths. So before we had this idea that it had to always be the wizard that killed him, we had this montage of deaths for our barbarian. And the only one I really remember is the barbarian was going to be a plumber, and he was going to be like plumbing a toilet, you know, like leaning over it. And then like he was going to unplug it and the water was going to shoot out of the toilet and like launch the plumbing handle, the plunger, the toilet plunger. The barbarian was a plumber and he was plunging a toilet and he gets it unclogged and the water shoots out and jams the handle of the plunger into his eyeball and out the back of his head. Yeah, we had like this whole, like, we were just getting high one day and we just had like all these stupid ideas of like ways that that the barbarian could just die. Like one of them, he was just like going to fall down the stairs. Like, I forget what that one was. We had like a big setup. Like he was going to be in New York and it was going to look like he was about to get robbed, and instead he was just like going to trip and fall down the stairs or something stupid. we had all these ideas. We were like, wouldn't it be funny if we set up all of these ways that he was going to die, and like he's going to get crushed or something. Okay, hold on. I got to pause. I got to take this. Oh, cat on my feet. All right, sorry. I had to take that one, man. That was Grandma's got my kid. So I kind of can't remember what I was talking about, which is a real shame. We had a whole montage of fake deaths that we were going to set up for the barbarian. Is that where I was at? It sucks because you guys are going to watch the video and it was literally the last thing I said, and then it's going to cut to this. What you don't realize, there was like a 5-minute conversation for me. But yeah, anyways, we were going to do like a whole bunch of like fake deaths that we just thought were going to be funny, you know, like him being a plunger and like it sticking to his eyeball or whatever. So okay, sorry. I hit spacebar to start the video to play it and I stopped recording. So anyways, couple weird edits there. All right, so now we're zooming back and I think this is like the final takedown. So this shot here is really cool. It's going to be like a mirror image. This is the orc army fighting the barbarians, and this is going to be the barbarian who is now a member of the Roman army in like the Roman past. And the two things, what's happening to the barbarian is going to mirror what's happening in the original timeline. Was the idea here. I kind of thought this was cool. So like this is the barbarian, or this is the orcs taking over the barbarian town, and in the past this is our barbarian as a Roman warrior, and see how they mirror each other. This is the barbarian in the past, and this is the present time, and you can see that they're doing the same thing. Cut. This guy's not bleeding, but whatever. Mirror images. We always thought like animated, this would be really cool to like this like split screen thing, and they're both doing this like dance. Like I always pictured this more like violent, but like kind of dancey. like a Jet Li film or something, but like with swords and people getting their heads cut off. And then you see here's like the big quote unquote boss guy. And this is where things are going to take a slight change. Now it's still mirrored, but no longer is the barbarian mirroring the orc. He's now mirroring the boss. See, here's the barbarian mirroring the boss, not the orc. And that's because, well, the orc's going to win. Yeah, see here, the orc kills his boss, but in the barbarian timeline, the boss kills the barbarian. And what we don't see here is where the wizard plays a role in that scene. It's, the wizard is clearly the commanding officer of the army. He's in charge. All right, so this scene here, this is what I wanted to point out. So we're going to rewind a little bit, and I want to take you back to see if you remember this. Remember the barbarian? He's running, and he finds the temple. He's running from these dudes, and it's like the temple with the writings on the wall, almost as if this temple was built as some sort of memorial for some crazy event that must have happened. Thus, its jewels are protected by these statues. And this statue here is wearing a necklace with a skull on it that has a big crack in it, as if the person whose skull this belongs to was brained. All right. So the barbarian wakes up and he finds himself in a tube, and there's a whole bunch of barbarian clones. And they all get dropped into these tubes. They're all suited up into armor. And wait a minute. These natives look awfully familiar. They almost look like these natives that were chasing him here. And you know why that is? Because they're the same. And so this UFO drops off all of these barbarian clones onto the natives. And of course, these dudes have guns. And so they start kicking ass. And this is a reference to Mars Attacks. When the Martians shoot people, they turn into skeletons. I fucking love that movie. Mars Attacks reference. So, how did if the barbarian died when he stepped on a trap in the temple and got killed by a spike, how is that the work of the wizard? And that's because we find out that the wizard is the shaman of the natives in this timeline. And he uses his shaman nature power to call forth the trees and the monkeys. That is why the monkey had a very ornate crown that Indiana Jones barbarian stole, and that's why the natives wanted it back, because the monkeys are very sacred to the natives because of this. The monkeys saved the natives in the past, and that's why the natives built a big temple in their honor. Let me rewind a bit. Right here, we see that they're supposed to be building the temple. Oh. And here we see our bunch of dead barbarians, right? And our barbarian has the wizard dead to rights with a gun. But then here comes a monkey with a rock who smashes him in the head, which means, and you've probably figured it out by now. Well, wherever he's at. This wizard, this statue, is where this is the barbarian's skull. The barbarian doesn't realize it, but he's looking at his own dead skull. We didn't expect anyone to ever catch this one. but there it is. The temple that he's in this scene was built in honor of the time that the monkeys and stuff saved the native people from an alien invasion of barbarian clones that happens in the future. Or happened in the past, I mean. Yeah. So anyways, that's the barbarian skull. Little Back to the Future shit or whatever. And that's why that temple and all of its traps were built by the shaman. So the trap that he steps on, the spike trap that kills the barbarian, was placed there by the order of the wizard. So it was the wizard's trap. So the wizard's spike did kill the barbarian in that scene. It's crazy, but, you know, when you can play with time travel in alternate dimensions, we wanted to play with time travel in alternate dimensions. All right, but that was like a whole clones, right? There were so many barbarians. There were cloned. There were hundreds of them. It was a whole army of barbarians. And so the wizard gets all of those because he was the shaman. He brought the trees to life. He pulled the monkeys into action. He is responsible for all of those deaths. So every cloned version of the barbarian that died, this wizard gets to collect those souls. So here we see him getting just like a shit ton of souls. And it's enough souls to make him go super wizard. And not what I envisioned when I wrote the script that said he turns into super wizard. I kind of pictured more like a super shredder thing, but this is cool. I'll take it. Yeah, I imagine something a bit more menacing, but okay, super wizard. He's like super powerful now. He's like all gold and shit. And this is the final bit, because this is still like the 8 minutes of Eighth Note. This is all just like a big montage. And this is what would essentially be the Battle of Helm's Deep, except the orcs win. You know, this is the final castle. This is like all of the citizens, the king. This is like the actual king of all the barbarians, right? This is the capital being sacked. They burned down the wood fort. They burned down a big city. Now they're at the capital. They fought their way into the fucking basement where all the women and children are hiding. They're killing all the women and children. They kill the king and cut his head off. And here's the wizard. He gets the shipment of gold, and he gets the king's head. The wizard is won. All right. This scene. We're going to listen to this because I even like this music. I'm super proud of this riff. It's a really weird riff, but I like it. All right, Fantasyland. World of Warcraft style. You know, they're in a pub, everybody's drinking and shit. Here's like your elf and yeah. All right, so the barbarian is drinking, and he's made a bet that he can cut an apple off a Cyclops' head with a knife. Yeah, he throws the knife, it splits the apple in half. He wins the bet. He's celebrating, and all of his friends are celebrating. You can see the Cyclopses aren't happy. Although, had he missed, their Cyclops friend would have died, but doesn't matter. The barbarian's like, pay up. The Cyclops is like, nah, fuck you. Not gonna pay. Instead, the Cyclops is like, eat my dick, so he snatches the barbarian's beer out of the barbarian's hand. He chugs the barbarian's beer and slams the empty cup down on the table's insult. Like, fuck you, I'm not paying you. What you gonna do about it? Well, this pisses the barbarian off. So he punches into the dude's gut like we saw he could do in the beginning of the film and pulls out the guy's intestines. And he holds the stomach up and he beer bongs this Cyclops' stomach contents to get his beer back. Cyclops drank his beer, the beer went into his stomach, he rips the guy's stomach out and shotguns the Cyclops' stomach contents to get his beer back. I think this is fucking awesome. And this Cyclops is like, what the fuck? And he's not done. Then he takes the intestines and he chokes this dude to death with his own intestines. Oh my God. All right, hold on. And of course, everybody gets super fucking mad. They're like, holy shit, there's like this crazy fucking fight. He's damn near killed this guy with his own intestines. And so the bouncers come in and they throw him out the fucking bar. All right. So he snatches his beer, chugs it. The barbarian rips out his stomach and shotguns the fucking stomach contents to get his beer. And just because I really like this riff, it's like this weird, like whimsical, like fantasy shit. Let's just check it out. All right. So you got to keep in mind that that's like a weird riff and it's like stupid, but you've literally been listening to this for the past 10 minutes. It's a nice change of pace. After 10 solid fucking minutes of like this weird little whimsical whatever the shit this is, you know. Probably on the real album, had we been able to go into a studio, record it on like a really nice acoustic guitar and shit, you know, would have been a nice change of pace. And that was really the idea, is that the drummer needed a break. He needed a water break. There were a few of those built into the song that we kind of skipped. The detective scene was another one of those. There were a few of these like down moments or funky moments or like slower moments that were purposely built into the song so that the drummer could fix a cymbal or get new sticks or take a drink of water or, you know, whatever he needed to do. 45 minutes is a lot for anybody, for the entire band. It's hot on stage, but especially the drummer. Okay. So this is where it gets really trippy. Everything's going to start morphing. We're not really going to tell complete stories anymore. We're going to kind of do this like weird morphing thing because I always really liked it. So, you know, he's going to get thrown out of the bar and then this guy steps on him. And then like in a weird trippy, like live action morph, when he like stands up, he's no longer outside of the bar. He's now on stage. And I guess we're probably going to need music for this, but yeah, see, so now it's like, it's a stage set, you know? Now he's like on a stage performing as a guy who just got thrown out of the bar. So he did really drink that guy's stomach content, get thrown out of the bar, but then we just did like a morph where like now it's just like as he stands up, like suddenly he's on a stage. And then, you know, this is like the other part. So we'll play this part too, you know, because I really like this part of the song, this like duet thing I always had planned. It's kind of tough to explain. But anyways, he sees the flag and he picks up the flag and it's the pirate flag. And here they're like, you know, so like this is the end of the scene. in the play, you know, like he picks up the flag, the curtain closes, you know, the people behind the curtain are like changing the scene, and while they do that, the orchestra is like playing a reprise. If you've ever seen a live play before, a Broadway play, this is how it's done. And then when they go, you know, you can see the next scene is going to take place on a pirate ship. Here's like the fake water and the fake boat. And this stagehand goes to open the curtain. And again, another live action morph, because when he opens the curtain, instead of the fake pirate set scene, a whole bunch of real water comes crashing in. And now, actually on a real pirate ship. So the bass line is supposed to be the barbarian, right? Singing his lines. Again, another break for everybody except the bass player to like douse themselves in water and open another beer. Okay, so his lines are like really, really sad. Like, I am poor, my life sucks, I have nothing in my life, blah, 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 right? Whatever it would be. It's like a really sad soliloquy or whatever, you know, like, oh, poor me. And then over here, this is supposed to be like in the play, on the other side of the world is the woman with a really giant eyebrow. And she's like on the opposite side of the world, and her life is great. She's like rich and pretty, and she's got all of these handmaids and shit, and they're like doing fancy jewelry. And so she's like the quote unquote lead guitar, and you know, her lines in the play would be the exact opposite. Like, my life is great, I'm so pretty, everyone loves me, things are the best. Right? But both of them are missing one thing, and they're missing love, right? They want to be in love, and they don't know it at this point in the play, but they're going to meet each other and fall in love. So she's over here in rich world, and he's over here in poor world, and you know, he's sad and she has everything, but he's like, oh. And so like here, about this point in time, they both end up saying the same line, right? So you'll notice that at this point in time, the guitar and the bass will line up and play the exact same riff, and that's because they're both saying something along the lines of like, I just want someone to love me. And he looks down and sees the pirate flag, and he's like, hey man, I'll go be a pirate. That'll get me out of this fucking piece of shit town. Maybe I can make something of myself. And that's the end of the scene. And you can imagine in the play, he becomes a pirate and eventually, like, you know, probably tries to rob her and ends up falling in love, but doesn't matter because we don't get to see the rest of the play. But I don't know, I always really liked this idea to go with this riff. So let's let it play out so you can see what I'm talking about. That's her. He's still singing his sad stuff. She's singing her happy stuff. They're both saying the same thing. Curtains close, everybody claps. They're playing the reprise. The stagehands are setting up the next scene behind stage. pulls open the curtain. Pirates. Okay. So there was actually a pirate shanty that we never finished writing that we thought about like layering over top of that. High winds and oceans are calling my name. Ahoy, young sailors, be brave. These high winds and oceans are calling our names. Ahoy, come sail to your graves. We never finished it, but that's well, I never finished it. I wrote that. I'm taking full credit for it because I like it. But I imagine like getting like 10 or 20 people in the recording booth and singing this shanty. Oceans are calling our names. Ahoy, young sailors, be brave. These high winds and oceans are calling our names. Ahoy, come sail to your graves. Something and something and something, blah, blah. These high winds and oceans are calling our names. You get the idea. The only other thing I want to point out is that this stage sign has like a countdown built into it. Like the orchestra plays like a warning to let everyone know behind stage that they need to get off stage. Right here. Like they're going to play this riff as like a warning, like bum, dun, dun, bum, dun, dun, bum, dun, bum, dun, dun. Come on guys, this is your cue, hurry up. Dun, 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 dun. You're almost out of time. And go. All right, so pirate fight. Pirate fight's pretty typical, right? Bam, bam, bam. Another pirate ship, blah, blah, blah. They shoot each other with cannonballs. Yar, they dock up, they swing from boat to boat, they get in fights. Okay, so this is another one that kind of didn't play out as cool as we hoped. It works, but it's tough. This guy was supposed to fall in the water and you were supposed to see like a big shadow of a monster. And then that shadow of the monster, when he splashes, it wakes the monster up. It doesn't really matter that the shadow's not down there, but him splashing in the water pisses off the Kraken. And the Kraken busts up, starts attacking everybody. So now they're having this big like pirate sword fight on this fucking pirate ships. But while they're battling it out, they also have to worry about the Kraken, who's just going apeshit in the background, which I think would be super cool. The Kraken's not on anybody's side. He's just like imagine like being in the middle of a gunfight and then King Kong shows up. Like, well, we all got to worry about King Kong, but it's not going to stop us from shooting at each other either. And of course our barbarian's badass. He cuts an arm off the Kraken. And then he sees these explosive barrels. So he like points his gun to shoot the explosive barrels. And then this is like another morph. Obviously they would blow up and kill the Kraken like video game style. But as he like aims, he morphs into a red coat. And this is like basically the St. Valentine's Day Massacre or whatever. Now he's just like a British red coat. And instead of pulling the trigger and shooting a bunch of explosive barrels, he's now shooting a bunch of innocent people. And then he goes to jump on his horse, and it's another quick morph. The morphs are getting faster and faster. Again, it's kind of like a montage to show you that he's just like living a 1,000 lives. He just lives so many of them. And visually, like animated, this would have been cool. He like pulls his gun to shoot the barrels, and then right as he pulls the trigger, he's now a red coat. And then the people run away, so he jumps on his horse, and as soon as he jumps on his horse, boom, it's a motorcycle. He drives his motorcycle, and then we find out he like rides it up the back of a dinosaur, and the dinosaur has like armor with like laser guns on it because that's fucking cool. And he jumps off the dinosaur's head, and then and while the motorcycle's in the air, he jumps off the motorcycle, and he tackles a ninja in a jetpack because it's fucking awesome. And he beats up the ninja while they both spiral out of control, right? Now they're, whoa, you know, and they end up crashing into this like skyscraper building, right? Because the dinosaur was like really big, I guess, you know, like Godzilla style. Yeah, so anyways, you know, he rides up the back of Godzilla, except Godzilla has like a helmet with fucking laser guns on it. And then he jumps off his motorcycle and he grabs a hold of a ninja in a jetpack, beats the shit out of the ninja, and they fall and crash into this office building. And like in this office building, there's like a bunch of rich people having a meeting. And you'll notice that this is Lupin the Third here. I mean, not really, but a little nod. I mean, Lupin wouldn't be in a fucking office building having meetings with millionaires, but, you know, totally use that color scheme. Lupin. All right, and then this guy here, you know, maybe didn't age so well. Maybe it did. Take your choice. That's Donald Trump. This was before 2016, man. He was not president. This is not any political statement. It's just look at the hair. It's just... I probably shouldn't have even pointed it out, but yeah, you know, at the point in time, I mean, it's not really Donald Trump, right? Like, this is just some dude, but every now and then I would color people. I would use color schemes to kind of throw references. And he's just like, they're all like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, got this ninja, and he's just like interrupted their like CEO meeting. And before they can be like, why, by God, what is going on here? They all just get cut in half by something. And he's like, what the fuck, cut them in half? And it turns out it's a big robot with like a saw blade for a hand. And he's like, well, shit, that's no good. And then before he can even deal with the robot with the saw blade for a hand, Robot Hitler comes crashing through the fucking wall. This scene is awesome. And he's like, holy shit, this is wild. And Robot Hitler's like, all right, you know, what's up, buddy? Now it's your turn. And he starts shooting, but he's not shooting bullets. He's shooting little people in diapers who are holding knives. Well, they were supposed to be holding knives. I guess they're just little people. Look at this guy. Because why not have a machine gun that shoots human beings? Like, doesn't shoot human beings with bullets. It literally, you know, instead of bullets, it has human beings in it. It shoots out human beings. Anyways, he's got a human launching gun. And then here's our dinosaur. He's come back to play. He's like, yo, did you forget about me? I'm a giant fucking dinosaur with a laser. So here I am. I'm in the scene now. I'll take out Robot Hitler for you. Because Robot Hitler's definitely got to die. It's fucking Hitler. And he's like, this shit is fucking wild. So he launches out the window. And of course, the ninja's coming with him. And on the way down, he steals the fucking jetpack from the ninja and flies away to safety. To a floating island in the sky with a castle on it. Because why isn't there a floating island in the sky with a castle? Again, because it's all fucking cool. So, I want to clarify what happened. He was in an RPG fantasy bar where he won a bet that he could split an apple with a knife. They didn't want to pay up their bet, so instead he drank his beer. So he ripped the guts, his stomach out of a dude and drank his own beer out of that guy's stomach through his intestines. Choked the guy out with his own intestines and got thrown out of the bar. But when he stood up, it turns out he's on stage where he does a soliloquy about how he wants to find love, so he's going to become a pirate to sail the world, where he literally becomes a pirate who, in the middle of a pirate space ship battle, gets caught in an attack by the Kraken. He goes to shoot the Kraken, but right when he shoots the gun, he turns into a redcoat in the middle of a fucking massacre. He jumps on his horse to chase down the innocent people, but the moment he lands on his horse, it becomes a motorcycle. He launches himself off the back of Godzilla with laser gun helmets, crashes into a fucking board meeting. No, he fights a ninja with a jetpack, crashes into a fucking board meeting. They get cut in half by a fucking saw blade robot who gets killed by Robot Hitler, who gets killed by the dinosaur with the laser guns. So he throws himself out the window, steals a jetpack, and flies to a castle on a floating island in the sky. What? where he sees this guy who definitely has the same color scheme as Rick from Rick and Morty, who's making a Frankenstein-style monster. And right when the Frankenstein monster starts to wake up, who's this? What is this? What is this? What's happening here? Oh my God. Hold up. I'm going to let you all finish, but Beyonce made the best video ever. Is that Kanye West? Kanye West interrupts. He interrupts our comic book. I love Kanye West. I'm a big fan of him. He's losing his mind a little bit. He needs some medicine or something, but still big fan of his music. And our Barbarian just says, fuck it, man, I'm going with it. And so he proceeds to just party balls with Kanye West. Just Kanye West and him just throwing out dollars at strippers and shit. There's like a tiger in the room. It's crazy. So let's just let this play and hear this out for a minute. Let's go back here to Pirates and just let's just suck this all in. Hold up. I'm gonna let you all finish, but Beyonce made the best video ever. Okay, so I want you to know this Kanye West thing was written before the comic. Like, the riff was literally written that Kanye West could do that, because it was written shortly after that happened. Not to date it too much, but this riff was literally written. I went into practice and had this riff, and I was like, check it out. Right here, we just go doo 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 da 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 da. And then we go into the beatdown, because originally the riff like went all the way into the beatdown. And I was like, no, let's do this. And everybody was like, why? And I was like, cause Kanye West interrupts our song. And they were like, what? And then I was like, yeah, hold up. I'm gonna let you all finish, but Beyonce made the best video ever. So when we did the comic, he absolutely had to interrupt. Glorious. Yeah. And then here, our barbarian just like parties balls. He just wiles out with Kanye. They're doing like keg stands and shit. This tiger's like up here eating a bunch of fucking pills. There's like spilt liquor and pills, and the tiger's eating them all, getting fucked up too. I'm gonna mute it just to like let it see, because there should be. Did we miss it? This tiger getting fucked up is my favorite. Oh yeah, she's pregnant and she's drinking and smoking, and he's got like a rubber woman with like a fucking firecracker coming out of her head. We don't know why. Yeah, again, we wrote this. This is not artist interpretation. We were literally like, dude, pregnant, smoking, drinking woman, rubber woman with a firecracker. He's got a chicken, dude. And we don't know why he's like in the bathtub with a chicken. Oh, this is like my favorite. And he wakes up, everybody's like hungover and passed out and shit, you know? Even the tiger. All right, and then Kim Kardashian comes home. She's like super fucking pissed. I mean, not really Kim Kardashian, right? Like these are, I don't know, maybe legally I can because they're famous. I can mock them. Yeah, but, you know, alternate dimension. She comes home. Whatever gets me legal rights, and she starts beating the shit out of Kanye. You know, what the fuck? You got all these strippers in here. He wakes up. They're like having this marital dispute. You know, it's like super awkward. He's like, well, I need to leave, but he's got a problem. See, his phone and his keys and shit are on the table, and they're arguing at the table. They're having this big like marital fight, and like his shit is on the table. So he has to like awkwardly walk over to him naked and like reach between them while they're having this fight and like get his shit, which I think is hilarious. If you really like picture this situation like on a cartoon, how awkward is it that he has to like sneak in between their fucking marital fight and grab his stuff? But that's what he's doing. Here's the music. Yeah. He's just like got to awkwardly reach between them and grab his stuff. He's like, fuck this, I'm out. So he's like going to get into his car, and he goes to pick up his phone, and it's like another morph. So this is like one that doesn't translate too well visually, but there's Morse code. Okay, so I cut it. So let's play here. Okay, so that's Morse code. That's SOS. 3 short beeps is S, and 3 long beeps is an O. So SOS. Do-do-do, 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 do-do-do. That's Morse code. So he's picking up the phone here, and he's going to call somebody, and then it's like implied that he dials SOS. Like that's just the sound of his, because it's like a morph. He's dialing the numbers in his phone. You know, he's like calling someone, oh, I got to get out of here. And the beeps of his phone as he dials would make an SOS noise, because it's a morph to this World War II, World War I. They had Navy ships and kamikaze. It would have been 2 because kamikaze pilots were Japan. Yeah, so it's World War II, and, you know, they're calling for SOS. He's on this battleship, and they're calling for SOS because they're under attack. Using the machine gun. Here come the pilots. You know, that was SOS again. You're going to hear it again because all the people are getting shot. You know, the ship's going down. All the other soldiers are killed. Right, and so it's like they're calling for SOS, and it's like a battle. He's like shooting down all the ships, but there's like one ship he can't get, and this ship ends up killing all the other soldiers. He finally gets it. The ship crashes onto the deck of the aircraft carrier. Let's mute it, right? And we wait to see who's going to come out of the airplane. And of course, you should know who's going to come out of the airplane by now. Who could it possibly be? He takes off his helmet and we see it's the wizard. Dun, dun, dun. And so the barbarian is like, finally, I got this motherfucker, right? Face to face, me and you, buddy. He's like, yeah, there you are, you son of a bitch. So he jumps down from his machine gun, man-on-man fight, gonna beat the wizard fist fight style. Now, it's super important to notice that up until this point, the wizard has never fought the barbarian. The wizard has been able to kill the barbarian, but he's always had to kill the barbarian with, like, something or someone else, you know? Like, he's always had to, like, get the jump on him, you know? Use a nuclear bomb or a trap in a temple or hit him with a truck or drive a giant robot. That the wizard himself has never been able to, like, fight the barbarian. There was the wrestling scene, but that wasn't supposed to be the wizard who was the wrestler. That's because the wizard cannot beat the barbarian in a one-on-one fist fight. Right? So they're going to fight. And this here is Lethal Weapon. If you watch this movie, if you watch this comic book and you have Lethal Weapon, if you watch the final fist fight in the first Lethal Weapon film and you have them side by side, you're going to notice a ton of similarities. And that is, for legal reasons, a total coincidence, because I don't know what Lethal Weapon is and I've never seen it or watched it. And I definitely did not purposely base this fight off the final fight of Lethal Weapon as a loving homage and Easter egg. So I don't know what Lethal Weapon is, but if the two fights are exactly the same, just coincidence, I guess. And they fight on the burning aircraft carrier. They're in like a circle of fire and they have like a big fist fight. And the barbarian, you know, he bests the wizard, right? Because the wizard can't beat the barbarian in a fist fight. And he gets the barbarian. We kind of covered this in the beginning. And he's like, you son of a bitch. You know, why did you do this? You attacked my village. You killed my family. You kidnapped my girl. You put me in this alternate universe where I've lived a million different lives. And in every single life, you fucking killed me in some horrific way. Why? And the wizard's like, let me show you. When I was a young boy, you attacked my village. Right? I was the innocent one. I was just hanging out and you showed up and you killed my mom. You cut my eye and scarred me. You attacked my village. You left us for dead. And because I had no family, I was a lone child and I ended up getting captured and I became a child slave in a mine. And it sucked, right? Because slave masters are not good people. But one day I found a crystal ball, probably what the slavers were looking for. But I didn't let anyone know I found it. I knew it was special. So I hid it. And then that night, while everyone was asleep, I stayed awake. And I snuck out of my apartment, I snuck out of my slave quarters, back into the mine. Past all the guards. And I got it, right? I got this special jewel. And at this point in time, you know, he probably just thought it was valuable. Like, yo, I'm just going to take this and sell this. You know, I'm just going to escape and I'll be rich. But a guard catches him and he's like, oh shit, no, I've been caught. And unbeknownst to him, as he's fighting for his life, the jewel powers up, gives him incredible strength, and he's able to defeat off his big old slave master guard. And the guard's all lit on fire and melted like that guy in RoboCop. And the wizard's standing there with his big old smoking magic hand, and he's like, holy shit, this is awesome. And he sees a castle in the distance. We're going to assume it's an abandoned castle. And he's like, that's it, bro. That's it. I'm going to get my revenge. And so he goes to the castle where he finds some magic book, and he grows into the man wizard that he is today, where he uses his magic to spy on the barbarian, and he's angry. I'm going to get revenge, so he uses his own blood and his own magic spell, opens up a portal. We're assuming because the wizard used his own blood, he has total control over the orcs that come out of the portal. It's like a blood bond. I don't know. It's just cool. He summons the orcs. This is the beginning, right? This is what we saw in the beginning. And then, the wizard builds up the army, and the rest is history. We march. You can see in the eye. This was the opening, one of the opening frames in his eye. And he's like, and then I waited for you and I attacked. And the barbarian realizes, oh my God, I did to you what you just did to me. It's awful. The barbarian, for the first time in his life, thinks maybe I'm a terrible person. So he, in shame, lets go of the wizard. He realizes the horrible things that he's done, and he drops to his knees and he begs the wizard for forgiveness. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I didn't think about it. I didn't know. And the wizard, sees him, and he reaches out in forgiveness to touch his head. And he's like, I forgive you. But no, he doesn't. When he touches his head, whoop, they get warped back to the original timeline. Now the barbarian's back in the original timeline where we started, and he's a prisoner. Out of the water they came. We see that the wizard has harnessed all the souls. Here he is in super form. And he's like, check it out, barbarian. While you've been dying 1,000,000 lives, I've taken over the world, right? These towns that used to belong to you now belong to me and my people. And he here we see him blow open the walls. They're in the tower, and he moves all the bricks out of the way so that the barbarian is now kind of on the roof, if you will. And the wizard steps out, and all the people are cheering. They're like, wizard, we love you. You're our king, because they're all orcs and wizard people. And he's like, so that's it. I've killed all the barbarians, right? The only barbarians left are you and her. And this is your wife. And I'm going to kill her. And so here he's like, no. And this is the moment where the crystal ball probably cracks to break. And then he starts cutting his wife's throat. And as she dies, in defeat, he starts to drop down, and we think back to his moment. So this is the barbarian. After he raided the wizard's village, right? So that's the wizard's village on fire. They all went home, victors. And they had a big party. Everybody celebrated. Oh, man, cool. You totally fucked that tower up, right? And so while she's dying in front of him slowly, he's thinking back to this moment. And at the celebration, after they raided the wizard's village, they all partied and drank. He caught the eye of a beautiful young woman who would become his wife. And there she is dying all these years later. And of course they fell in love. They totally banged. She got pregnant. There she is dying. It's pretty brutal. She had a kid. He left to go hunting. She's dead. And the rest is history, right? And then the wizard is like, that's it. You're the only one left, right? But then this unspoken rule, the wizard, despite the fact that he's super, can never actually defeat the barbarian, right? So he can't kill the barbarian. You would assume if he would try to stab the barbarian right now, the barbarian would do some action movie shit, kick the knife out of his hand or something, right? The wizard knows it's not worth trying to actually best him, so he just sends him to the distant future. Oh, yeah, it was right here. He sends him to the distant future. So this is supposed to be Earth. The sun is like a big red giant. Everything's dead. All the plants are dead. All the people's dead. That's it. He's just here, all alone in the distant future on a planet. He's just going to be here until he dies. And you're supposed to think that's the end of the movie. But as we know, he actually has a shard of the crystal ball. And in the sequel, he was going to travel this distant land, find a magic artifact that powers up the shard, and he was going to make a quantum leap, like jump. And that's a story. So I really, really like... I mean, let's just listen to like the last 5 minutes of this, because I kind of really like this. This ending riff here... This riff right here is, I mean, I'm just going to say it for the sake of documentation. There's no shame. I was heartbroken when I wrote this riff. In a weird sort of way, though, like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, man. Like, it should have been one way, but it wasn't, like, really my fault. You know, like, it was just, she was kind of a bad person, not in the best place in her life at that point in time. And anyways, you know, had things been different, things would have been different. And so I was like really sad and heartbroken, but like I wasn't like drink a bottle of whiskey alone in the dark, why doesn't she love me, heartbroken. I was like sad and heartbroken, like it's a real shame you're not the person I know you can be. Like, you're currently still this shitty person, and that sucks. And because you're that shitty person, it'll never work out between us. And that makes me sad. But, you know, whatever, right? Like, it was a different type of heartbreak. And anyways, I just remember writing this riff being that sad. And so that's why this riff, like, I knew it had to be the end of the song, and I was the one that came up. I mean, Dooley came up with a lot of this. I know I'm talking a lot about the stuff that I came up with. I don't want to take anything away from Dooley. He came up with a lot of it, but, you know, I can only speak for myself. Anything that I say I didn't come up with, you know, Dooley or we came up with as a group, which is the majority of the cartoon. But I just knew that, like, it needed to be, like, a really brutal and sad scene at the end to just really match this riff. Because this riff, to me, was... There were times in practice where, like, my eyes would water up. You know? Like, could have lived a different life, you know? But I guess I'm glad it didn't work out. I got Kim and Lily now, and I wouldn't trade any of that for the whole world. But I was 20-something, man. This riff is just so sad to me. I don't know if you guys can hear the sadness in it, but I always can. Thank you, good night, and then we would just walk off stage. So I don't know, let's oh man, dude, Morse code, hold on, we got to go back. We spell out the word beautiful. Where do we spell out the word beautiful? Yeah, right there. Okay. Yeah, this is there's Morse code. There's SOS do 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 do, and then there's also a riff in here where we spell out the word beautiful in Morse code. SOS. Yeah, right here. This is beautiful. Okay, we got to go back. So somewhere, I'm pretty sure we spell out beautiful more than just that one time. But I don't know. Yeah, anyways, we definitely spell out beautiful in Morse code. So let's go here to this riff that's just noise. Okay, this literally is just noise. Now, partly it's a good break, right? It's just a good opportunity to just like hit random strings and like grab another beer or whatever, like wipe the sweat off your brow, get ready for like the last like 5 minutes. You're pretty much almost done. But originally, so the part with the dinosaur and the motorcycle was written way early on, right? Like that was like the first part of this song that we had written. So originally like the last like 8 minutes, 10 minutes of this song or so were... Yeah, so the last 10 minutes of this song were written first. It was like just going to be this as its own individual song. And anyways, this part here where we messed up originally started as us acting like we fucked up on stage. And we were going to like argue with the drummer. Like it was supposed to be as if like this is pretty extreme, this noise. But like this intro part where we first start to fuck up, the drummer was supposed to fuck up. And then we were supposed to just like stop, like just kind of like let our guitars go. And we were going to get in a fight on stage. Like literally yell at each other. Like, dude, what the fuck, man? This is why you got to come to fucking practice, you piece of shit. You know, we were going to like fight with each other on stage. You'd be like, no, fuck you, man. You know? Yeah, and like see how awkward we could make it for everybody in the audience. You know, and our instruments are just like, they're just like hanging off our chests and shit, you know? We're just like, no, fuck you. You need to come to me. Oh, fuck you, man. Maybe I should just quit this fucking thing. You wouldn't be shit without me. You know, and just like after like a little bit of time of practicing, we were just like gonna just go right back into it, you know? So, and everyone in the audience would think, you know, because at this time, I mean, we played some like stadiums. Like we played a place like the Norva, but a lot of the stuff we were still playing like bars and shit, like clubs at the beach. And so the people in the audience would think we were actually fighting with each other. No, fuck you, man. Maybe I should quit. You wouldn't be shit without me. You need me in this band. Nobody needs you. You never fucking know your part. How many times did we work on this? Fuck you. And then we would all just like jump right back into it as if nothing happened. You know, it would be so awkward for everybody because they would think that the band literally just had a meltdown on stage. And then we would just go right back into it as if nothing happened. But the second time you saw us, you would be in on the joke. And so at the end of a 45-minute long song, that part becomes, you know, just a chance to just make some fucking noise and get a drink, and for the singer to be like, all right, everybody, one last time, let me see you burn this place down, you know. It's just like a last breather before the last like 5 minutes of the song. But originally that part was written so that we would literally fight with each other on stage and have like a fake argument. Now, in this part on the album, in this noise, if you listen real carefully, you're going to hear a badly played out of tune version of Redemption Song by Bob Marley. Boom, ba-doot, doot, 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 doot. Do 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 do. And that's because my very first girlfriend, when I was like 17 years old, loved Bob Marley. I'm not a big fan myself, but she loved him, and she made me learn she made me learn to play Redemption Song. And you know, first loves, man, like you move on, but they're always deep in there. You never forget your first. And so I buried it in there. But I didn't want to play Redemption Song, right? I didn't want to get sued, but also, you know, I'm supposed to be making noise. So if you listen real close, you'll hear Redemption Song played badly and out of tune. I don't know if you heard it. If not, just keep listening to it. There were a lot of weird slowdown parts at the end, mainly because this was just supposed to be like a really weird song, you know? It's just supposed to be a one-off song. It's supposed to be weird, but also purposely at the end because, man, 41 minutes of nonstop playing on stage under hot lights, you need a fucking break. You need these downpours. bad riff. Thank you. Good night. So that's pretty much it. There's only one other thing, I guess, that I briefly want to cover, and that's like this little part here, which was designed to be kind of like strobe lights. Because again, this would play behind us on stage, so this part was supposed to indicate that he was getting eaten alive at the same time that like the bomb was about to go off. But it was designed to be flashing like this, so that while we were on stage, it would kind of be like a separate set of strobe lights. Okay, so I think that about covers it. This was a really long video, but still, I just wanted to document all of this stuff because we never got to actually release it. And I was really, really proud of what we wrote, what we made, all of the ideas that we had. I was just super proud of all of this. And Gary was my best friend, man. He'll be missed for sure. Every day I miss him. But there it is. There's the amazingness you could have had. You could have had many videos like this with Easter eggs, and we were ahead of the time, man, streaming. Just imagine if a band didn't release albums. Imagine if just like every month or two, you just got a new song from your favorite band. How awesome would that be? And a cartoon to go with it. Imagine if you could draw a cartoon and submit it to your band, and while they played on stage, it would show up behind them. I guess it's not too late if you own a record label. Give me a call. Also, I need a drummer, and you need to pay me a lot of money because I got a family now, and it would be really hard to walk away from my child for months on end. But, for money, I would do it. But yeah, man, I had a lot of really, really good ideas when it came to music. Being in a band was always something special. It was art to me. It was different. It wasn't about just getting drunk and meeting girls. It was literally about creating something big and different and new and special. So I don't know if I think of anything after this video is made, because again, I'm not going to edit this. I'm just going to fucking drop it in as it is and call it a day. I guess I'll put it in the comments, and yeah, feel free to check out the video. Link is in the comments. We were Murder No Motive. We were the Pauli exclusion principle, which is a physics formula about why electrons don't all just shed all their energy and jump down to the lowest rings of atoms, giving us the periodic table. But that's beside the point at the end. And AJ, the vocalist, who's not on this one because we never got to finish it, went on to be in Fire from the Gods, and they're doing really well. So go and check them out too. All right, I love you guys. That's what could have been. The Pauli exclusion principle.